what we do here is go back.
Hello there, hello there, hello there everyone. How are we all? This is an unplanned, or should I say, unscheduled happy hour. I am the neckbeard minion, Kevin Logan. And joining me as ever, it's, I can't even remember what he called you, but whatever. Kristi Winters.
Yes.
Dr. Kristi Winters, let's have no nonsense.
Yeah, this is just hilarious to me. So for those of you who are in the chat, you will be able to scroll up and see King Crocoduck already came in and just like had a temper tantrum in the chat.
He did.
Can we, because I did make a point, can we pull up one of those pics now? I did save. Let's see the rational science dude at work. What was he, what intelligent comments, what thoughtful, provoking questions, what excellent scholars did he contribute to the chat?
He turned up like an hour before the debate began, or not debate, the video began. Is that on the screen now for everyone? No, it isn't, because I need to go into that screen. There we go. And started with, "Hey Kev, I've an idea for a new video." Now, you know me, Kristi. I like constructive criticism. Yeah.
You want to like take suggestions. I mean, you never listen to people's suggestions, but you'll listen to them.
Well, I do now because we've got a big brain thinker. So
in the chat,
indeed, insecure, lol. Because he literally, like I say, he came in half an hour, let's say, before the start.
Half hours, I think is fair. Yeah.
Insecure and fragile political scientist, double quotation marks, hides behind her cereal box PhD to condescend to a biomedical physicist on the topic of science. Can we get some BPs in chat for biomedical physicist? I'm sure we're all very impressed. A bit wordy to be sure, but he gets the point across.
Yeah.
I think that's supposed to be... I think he's doing a meme. Is that what the kids call a meme? He then says, Kristi Winters tweeted, "Lol. So, dude without a doctorate has unilaterally decided he can just throw out all of the philosophy of science and still do science." Unquote.
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. Keep that in mind anytime Kristi starts bloviating about other people's fallacies. No, fallacies. Sorry, my bad.
I don't know how an opinion is a fallacy. An argument is not an opinion, and I expressed an opinion. Again, just imprecise understandings here.
Now, this is interesting because he goes, "This is going to be a 2014 tier commentary, considering he called me a neckbeard and said, was it, Kev, shut up, Kev, you'll wake your boyfriend, your wife's boyfriend or something."
Wow, really?
That's like 2012 fucking Reddit tier nonsense. Jesus. Where she shouts out the name of a logical fallacy like Pokemon, instead of engaging with actual argument. If
there was an argument, I'd engage with it, but because it's just logical fallacies and strawmen, that's what we have to comment on. But just to prove him right on something, I've created a logical fallacy bingo card that we will use on the main video. But we have other ones to showcase.
There it is.
Okay.
Boom. Lovely stuff.
You got it all set, ready to go.
Exactly. Organised. I spent the prep time for this doing that. As in, like, cutting down the screen.
Yeah, I made it and then Kevin uploaded it. But he did. It did take a while to, like, download it and get it in the right frame and all.
Yeah. True. Well, the downloading wasn't so much, but you have to crop the image. It's a nightmare, people. Anyway, so there we go. We'll deal with that.
Oh, and then he went on. He had more. He had a second. There's a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, do with science. Keep that in mind. I just said go to bed to King Crocoduck.
Yeah.
This is going to be a 2014 blah, blah, blah. Quiet, Kev, you'll wake up your wife's boyfriend.
Wow. That is a scientific argument if I've ever heard one.
Well, all I'll say is I think it was Isaac Newton who was famous for his yo mama snaps.
That really set the bar. We've
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
been
Albert Einstein
aspiring
was
to
one
that.
of the finest diss rappers of his generation. Okay,
Fire bars.
exactly.
Sorry, that was
yeah.
fucking Xander Hall and that Lawrence Southern toe
That's a
licking
joke,
session.
yeah.
Oh, that was awful. Yeah,
awful.
but anyway, that was something else.
Anyway, talking of dickheads, King Crocoduck. I then timed him out because I thought you were just annoying. You're just
But I
a
think I've got
pointless prick.
one more pick. I think I sent you 2.
Yeah, well, that's the second one. Yeah.
Oh, that's the second one. Okay, got it. They're very close. Got it. All right.
Anyway,
Blink in there.
That's
So that's how he wanted to set the tone. Okay, actually, the video that I would like you to start with is the one that says.
We're not skimming over the memes.
Oh, right, memes. Yes, please.
Look,
tell us about your meme.
It's that's the what was the old statue of Confederate General Lee in Baltimore, which got taken down, and someone has replaced it with a toilet.
Yeah, I approve of that. That's actually a better representation than what they had before.
Yeah, exactly.
I support that.
Lovely stuff. Can I get some lols in chat for General Lee still being dead? I know it's a long time now. I know I'm reaching back into the past on that one, but it's still funny to me.
Yeah, not too soon on that one.
And as we know from the great PragerU, he's not racist because he was buried near his horse. So
Yeah.
Fun times.
That means we should keep a statue of him.
We should.
What?
Near his horse. An actual argument made. Again, if I were one of the Koch brothers, presumably the alive one, can I get some lols for the fact that one of the Koch brothers is also dead? I'd want my money back. Because if that's the level of argument, Jesus, I could train a fucking chimp for cheaper than Dennis Prager. Good lord. Anyway. So.
Yeah.
You wanted to start with what video?
So in the Facebook group, it's the one that has like minute 17 something on it.
Oh, good lord.
Not in the group. Sorry, in the chat.
In the chat.
In
Minute
our
17.
Chat.
Where's that then? There we go. Right.
Yep, 1717 is where we're going to start on this one. And that is, this is so hilarious.
1717.
Yep. All right, everyone.
Oh, we're
get
skipping
ready,
past my Frank Zappa joke. Outrageous.
Oh, do you want to go back? You can show. You can
No.
show him making fun of our show. And
Oh, yeah, fuck
that's
it. Yeah. Plus, I like me watching me.
there you go. I
That's
think you have to go
become a
back a
thing.
little bit farther. He gets fixated on this quote mine thing, which is like such a it's a way to distract from the larger argument. But yeah.
Anyway, let's take a look at this nonsense. Anyway, King Crocoduck is a weirdo, just an old weird atheist guy, right? Now, Kristi and I are both atheists, but we're not like. All I'll say is he's got videos on his channel that are literally called "The Destruction of" and then a person. Like he's that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's yeah. I mean, you can. If I were you, I'd imagine him literally wearing a fedora.
Well, I mean, you can just see from how he is already behaving in the chat. I mean, that's the energy he gives off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I mean, take that with a pinch of salt because I am a bearded, neckbeard minion. So.
Yes, minion.
With Kristi Winters, who decided to do this.
I don't know the timestamp because I removed it. I guess I could look it up here.
Oh,
in the
hold,
text.
pause.
At
Sorry.
one
Yeah, this
point
is
he
him just
says-
babbling on.
Is this where your Frank Zappa joke is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So basically what he's saying, he demanded I like look in depth at his stuff and I was reviewing it. And he didn't provide all the information or whatever. It doesn't really matter. He got all upset because like I focused on one thing. He said that science is not a social construct. And that was the debate. So this is just about King Crocoduck trying to go, oh my God, you quote mined me. And I'm going to show how he was actually way worse in his videos. But by feigning outrage, he gets to distract from the fact he can't show that science is not a social construct. So.
Yeah. Also, the freeze frame, it looks like I'm having a stroke.
Yeah. For example, if a study finds that there is a correlation between aggressive behavior and playing video games, it is possible to infer on the basis of just that one study, either that video games make people more aggressive or that aggressive people will naturally tend toward violent video games. Do you know what the fundamental error with that statement is?
I don't, but I know that Frank Zappa's doing evolution science, apparently.
There you go.
Is he?
There's your joke.
That's
Thank
the
you.
picture
Okay,
you've got on
so
the
we
screen.
can go ahead to
That's-
1717 now, because otherwise people can go watch the full video.
I
But
feel
for the
like you
purposes of
trampled
our
on my
show,
punchline there. I feel like you've not given it a fair shot. I like that joke.
it's
I'm glad
been
it lives
all
on.
over the internet now. Like King Crocoduck's fans have seen that joke. It's gotten aired out. It's okay.
Yeah. That would explain why they've all wet themselves. Because they were laughing so hard, Kristi. Anyway.
All right, this is amazing. Yeah, starts 1717, a little bit later, because it's this. He's going on about this wall of text. All right, there you go.
Statistician. Okay.
She then used to try to discredit me as someone who does.
Also, I like this meme for just before we even get going. Because unless this creature here is a horse, why is the glasses on the outside of its fucking face?
What? What do you mean the outside of its face?
Because it's sort of the actual glass is pointing sideways. It's moving, look out across.
I hadn't noticed the animation, the drawing.
It's poor.
Not animation.
It's poor meme construction. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
It's
Kevin is a
distracting.
meme connoisseur, so I will defer to your opinion on that.
Pedant is the word.
Doesn't understand basic statistics. Kristi, did you really think that I would let you get away with this shit?
Listen to this absolute cockhead. When I said imagine him wearing a fedora, I wasn't lying.
Oh, it goes on.
It does. Hang on. There we go.
Oh, we have to, that's not ready yet, but just.
Well, we'll just have it there. We'll have it there
Oh, okay.
waiting. It's not a problem.
Okay.
It's not like his visuals are that fucking interesting anyway.
Did you honestly believe that just because my channel has been dormant for over a year, it was safe for you to try this? Did you seriously think that just because you buried your lies and hypocrisy in 6.5 hours worth of crap, you wouldn't have to
Excuse me. Excuse me. It's 5.5 hours of crap and cat videos, so...
answer for this bullshit? You have gravely miscalculated.
He's a fucking mafia don now or something. You have greatly offended me. Oh, shut up, you cock.
Why did Kristi do this? Why are her video replies to me of this character? Whatever the reason, it seems clear that she has an axe to grind. Not just with me personally, but with natural scientists more generally.
Yeah, we're dealing here, people, with the living avatar of natural science. It's fine. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway. So let's listen to the man who, like I say, I think I'm right in saying that Einstein's not fit to lick this man's boots.
No, he is the sciencer.
He is science. He embodies
Our channel is blessed
science.
when the science know are logged on.
True.
Of whom she makes some rather extraordinary claims over the course of her videos.
I guess it's, the luxury of the natural sciences that things appear self-evident, so they don't have to think very hard. You get real lazy thinking. You just get accepting what was taught to you and handed down century after century. Whereas the question of democracy has to be reinvented. Like, what is democracy and how do we measure it? It's a challenge that lasts across generations, because what democracy was to the ancient Greeks isn't what democracy meant to the founders, and it's not what we mean today. So we're constantly being challenged on understanding the current use of the concepts and words that we use in the social sciences. So we have to be much more rigorous in our thought process. We have to be much more thoughtful in the way we construct not only our definitions, but our operationalizations, and make sure we're explicitly linking these things to our measurements. Now, I don't even know if a natural science person would know what operationalizing means, because they just use the measurements that are handed down. So, a leader is a leader is a leader. So y'all don't question that. You just kind of move on. Therefore,
Well, no.
you want to pause. I think this is just me. That was me being right. And the thing is, he thinks I'm being really outrageous when I say these things. But those of you who watched my Sunday show, where we watched the philosophy of science with Brian Maggie and Hilary Putnam. Hilary Putnam, by the way, is a philosopher of science, a mathematician, and a computer scientist. He was the one, I mean, in that video, he said, and it's not the only time I've heard it, but that sociologists are much more conscientious about the inductive method than the natural sciences are. So this is not like, I'm saying something that has not been actually like, that I heard from a famous mathematician, computer scientist, philosopher of science, you know, but of course it's me saying it, so he won't accept the critique because of who I am, not the point being made. But anyway.
Well, you are a terrible SJW.
Yes. So
although,
that was.
If you don't mind me saying, you do have a fine line in fine eye for a bearded minion.
Yeah, I do. I can pick them.
You can.
I can. You don't have the. All right, so that's enough of that's. It was mostly just that ridiculous threatening bit, which was completely hilarious to me. People, again, you can go watch the whole video if you want to laugh.
How dare you! You have betrayed the science god.
So what started all of this? What started all of this? I think it's worth going back and having a look at the original video, which Kevin I've linked and noted as I think minute like 12:20 and change. I can't remember the exact second.
Okay.
But yes, and this one
12:53.
Correct. So we're not going to go through his whole video of Is Science a Social Construct, but this is what started it. Because in my opinion, he's misrepresented social constructionism, and he is also like misrepresenting science. So this is the video that he made that I was initially responding to. And in this section, he's going to he's done a whole thing about science. All right. So he's now supposed to get to like the social construct part. And again, you can go back and watch the whole video if you want, but we're going to skip ahead to the relevant part here tonight. Okay.
Also, I just want to point out, I know that this weird graph thing is it makes a lot more sense than the Jordan Peterson one, but just because there are 2 mentions of quantum and 2 mentions of classical, all you need is you throw in a dragon of chaos, and this could be a Peterson graph.
It could be. It could be. Good point. Yeah. It's one chaos dragon away from a Peterson.
It is. It is.
Love it.
Which is unified under a more comprehensive framework. Our final definition is of science, which is that set of processes that test and develop models whose various properties have just been laid out. Because the scientific activity...
No. Literally, if I could impose on you to just, let's check definitions of science, and not just in the dictionary. I've done this already. Believe me, I know what the results are going to be. And when he talks about the specific set of processes, and we can listen to it again, if you look up any group who talks about defining science, they will see things like the intellectual activity encompassing the systemic study of the structure and behavior of the physical world. It's the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding of the natural and social world, following a systemic methodology based on evidence.
Well, clearly they're in the pocket of big society. So, don't know what they're talking about. It's only jars of bubbling liquid on Bunsen burners and thinky men thinking, and that's it.
Yes, and I will tell you one of the problems that King Crocoduck has is that he has a very narrow understanding of what can. How science can be applied. Like when I talk about science and the scientific process, when I talk about what exists, how can we know what exists? How can we measure it? How can we define it? This isn't just for social sciences. It's for the natural sciences. It's for economics. It's for medical science. It's a general principle that can be applied to any question as long as you follow the steps. Your investigation is empirical. You know, you're using observations. You have testable theories. You know, there's all of these little things. But part of it, too, is like understanding what exists and how it exists and how you can measure it. And he just fundamentally rejects the idea that science can be anything other than a specific form of model testing and parsimony and all these things that he values in his science. Now, what's really ironic is that I think his core argument is that people who advocate a soft, social constructionism, think that there are values in science and that people bring values to their theories. But the thing is, his video is all about what he values in science. Like his naturalistic bombshell that we're going to look at is basically all the things that he likes. And it's not based in science, it's based in values. So there's a little bit of lack of self-reflection, I think, in the fact that one doesn't think about science as a practice for economics, for sociology, for political science, for communication science, social media data analysis. There are all kinds of other ways.
Kristi,
and also, one last thing. And also that, no, it's gone. Go ahead, you interrupted. You interrupted me and the thought went.
Sorry.
Okay, it'll come back.
Oh, no, I was just going to do... I feel bad now because I was just going to do a silly joke and say...
Yeah, you have to not do silly jokes tonight. You have to hold your silly jokes.
Self-reflection. Are you saying there's no self-reflection from a guy who literally did the weird, you have offended me, how dare you, my channel's been dormant, but you have woken the dragon.
Okay, so that was his incorrect definition of science. And you notice he doesn't give a citation for his definition there because it doesn't exist. Like, his narrow definition of sciencing is not supported by everybody else's understanding of what science means, which is a abstract formula that can be applied to a lot of different disciplines. He's very proprietary of what can be science, as we'll see. Not even experimental science is science, according to his later criteria. But so I just want to point out, wrong. That's not a good definition of science. That's a terrible definition. It's incorrect.
Also, Kristi, if I'm not bringing silly jokes to the table, what the fuck am I bringing to the table?
You can bring the silly jokes. You just gotta hold. You gotta you keep the wolf at the door. Think about Anne Widdecombe. Do something to just hold back.
You know I like a flappy neck.
Yeah, Anne Widdecombe is probably the wrong one to. Yeah,
she's a pin-up in my world. Fuck me, I felt a little bit of sick came up then. Ooh.
All right, so let's really get into King Crocoduck's understanding of social construction, social constructs and social constructions.
Well, science is just when big-brained men do thinky. And the more thinky they do, the more science there really is.
With numbers and math.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is quantitative, but there are other elements to it that are important.
Activity tests models rather than individual facts. The statement that motivated this entire controversy is somewhat malformed. But that is a minor quibble. Now that we're armed with a better understanding of what science is...
What's this? Colonisation, racism, immigration, native rights, sexism, ableism, queer, trans, intersex phobia, and econ justice are scientific issues.
Yeah. Those are issues you can investigate with the scientific method. They literally are.
Outside of the supernatural, isn't literally everything a scientific issue?
Well, I mean, you could say the humanities and arts are probably outside of the purview of science, unless you want to talk about, perspective or dimensions or psychological experiments on people.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because even then, it's the study of those things that I'm more interested in from a sociological point of view, rather than strictly speaking, literally every tiny little thing. You can approach any particular topic from a scientific.
Yeah, you can explain issues of global poverty with colonization, including colonization theory controls in your variables. Racism is responsible for the racial wealth gap, the police violence experience gap. Each one of these things can be investigated with the scientific method. And so I don't understand what his problem is.
Brown people and women are
doing science.
Getting up in his white man business.
Is and how it operates, we may examine what is meant by propositions to the effect of science is a social construct and what they imply.
Get ready, people.
Also, I do love it when they get so butthurt about this. I kind of want to ask them, point me to the science tree where the science grows.
Yes, exactly.
What do you think a social construct is exactly? Anyway, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
If one were merely to say that scientific models are social...
I don't want to pause every 5 seconds, but I genuinely think, when I saw this, when I first watched the video, my initial thought was, he genuinely sees himself as the dude in the middle here. He genuinely sees himself as, I'm the man doing the science.
I am the science guy, yeah.
I am the classical science man. Respect me.
Can you back up 5 seconds so his thought is contiguous? Yeah, thank you so much.
I just want to point that out because that's in there. Very funny to me. He's one of the most fart, huffy, pretentious twats I've ever seen. It's embarrassing. Anyway.
There's so many contenders, though.
Oh, I know, but it's going to be difficult to top the "You have awakened the sleeping dragon of my channel." Anyway, come on, let's.
Yeah.
Focus.
Get on with it.
Come on.
If one were merely to say that scientific models are social constructs because they wouldn't exist absent a society, one would be stating a truism. A model,
Pause.
by definition...
Pause. Nobody says that. This is it. He's going to go after me for quote mining when he spends the entire video strawmanning social constructionists. So could you again, sorry, Kevin, type define social constructionism? Because it's not
Well, before
just
we even do
things-
that, shall
Yeah.
we circle straw man argument?
Oh, this isn't the video even. We've got another. This is just the background.
Oh, we're not
video.
even doing it on this. Oh, I thought it was across the
No.
whole piece. Well, I'll hide the bingo then.
Well, I mean, I made it specifically for his video today.
Okay.
'Cause-
Yeah, no,
but we could use it for longer if you want.
No.
Okay.
What was it? Social... What did you ask me to do?
Social constructionism definition. So notice how he slid in models. Scientific models are developed in a society, right? That's not what it means to say science is a social construct. We're not
Yeah.
saying that scientific models happen in places where there's more than one person. That's
Well,
not what it
let's go with Wikipedia because we're terrible scholars.
That's constructivism. We need construction.
Constructionism.
Actually, you can get to the hyperlink from Wiki if you go back. Okay.
No, that's two eyes. This is not Latin.
No,
Kev.
it worked. It's right there.
Come on. Social constructivism. Well then.
Constructionism.
Nope.
You were thinking. Okay.
No.
Go ahead. You read it out.
Social constructionism is a theory of knowledge in sociology and communication theory that examines the development of jointly constructed understandings of the world that form the basis for shared assumptions about reality. The theory centers on the notion that meanings are developed in coordination with others rather than separately within each individual.
All right. So that is not to say scientific models happen in societies. That is not what that says. No. And that was his reasonable version of social constructionism. So he's already strawmanning the entire discipline and saying, "Oh, I'm not saying I have a problem with this part of it, which I've gotten wrong. I've got a problem with the second way that people try to do this, which doesn't relate to science being a social construct." Because when people say science is a social construct, they're saying the process of knowledge generation and what is accepted as knowledge and how we agree to do knowledge production is science, according to scientific standards. But it's a process. It's not like one model.
But
It's the
Kristi, clearly we can't trust this because look, there are other things here that aren't sciencey.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on
criminology.
observation.
That's not proper science.
Oh, no, that's not studying. That's not a science.
Economic?
A study of things.
Outrageous.
Again, can't be a science.
Family, please. Immigration. It's brown people stuff.
Yep.
What's going on here? Anyway, so yeah, that's a thing. Anyway, we can't trust Kristi anyway because I was planting some science seeds earlier, and they'll be ripe in the spring. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, go back. If you could just go back a little bit, just because that straw man is, and that's why he doesn't put up a citation for this definition because he doesn't have one for that because nobody says it.
A white man was speaking. What more citation does one need? Please.
If one were merely to say that
there he is
scientific
again.
models are social constructs because they wouldn't exist absent a society, one would be stating a truism. A model,
No one
by
says that.
definition, is a description of reality, and descriptions require social actors. This is utterly uncontroversial, but does not exhaust the meaning of such statements as scientific facts are social constructs, even though some social constructionists will make it seem as though this were all that were being implied. To say that science is a social construct is to say that the conclusions reached by a scientific model are not just shaped by facts, but are also shaped by values that are particular to the social situation of whoever is doing the research.
Pause. All right. Can people know? I mean, I'm just going to throw out economics does this all the time. Economics adopts a capitalist value system when it is theorizing and developing measurements for testing its theories.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Is
Yeah.
economics not scientific and rigorous and reliable?
It's it's imperfect, of course, but yes.
Yeah.
But the human knowledge is imperfect. Absolutely.
People in democracies, we think democracies are awesome and authoritarian regimes are bad. And so when we set up our models of governance, we don't treat democracy and authoritarianisms as moral equals. We treat it one as preferable to the other. And the more democratic a country is, the better the experience of the citizens are. So this is what we say when people who are doing the science come, even people with business degrees, don't maybe not realize that everything they think about is really from a capitalist framework. Maybe they've heard a little bit of Marxist critique, but it would be entirely possible to develop, to take Marxist theory, come up with measurements for Marxist concepts, and go out and measure the economy from a Marxist perspective. And those numbers and valid measurements, if they were all adhering to the scientific method, they would be a reflection of, the data would be reliable. The question is your value system. Yeah. And so to say that we don't sneak in values into our scientific practices, yeah, maybe in physics you don't, but a lot of other people do. And it's not always about your field. Think broader, think wider, think about other ways people apply the scientific method.
2 points off topic necessarily, but still. There was a vote in my chat. There was a poll, which was, is King Crocoduck real? And everyone agreed no, he's in fact a non-fungible token. So that's good. And as to the man himself, if man can be used as a word to describe him, he was timed out again.
Croc got timed out? What did he do this time?
Probably something dumb and offensive, I imagine.
Yeah, I want to say, if he's got good arguments, if he's adhering to like the civility rules, then let him speak. Like, honestly, I think it would be interesting for him to try to respond to some of this stuff. And when you guys hide him, that's not left on the record. So. Okay,
but what I will say is that me and Kristi have a slight difference of editorial stance. I think it's hilarious. Fuck him. Anyway, should we continue?
Yeah, there's a little bit more. Let this play out, because it just shows like the myopic, very physics materialist viewpoint at which he's located.
Arguments for why this is the case will vary from coffee shop to coffee shop, but the feature common to all varieties.
Again, we're not doing it, but that would be a kind of
poisoning the well.
Poisoning the well,
I would call it,
because it's just coffee shop fart huffing. Which has awakened the beast of science.
Ooh,
he's the Smaug of science. He collects all of the science. So,
of social constructionism is the belief that scientific conclusions are necessarily influenced by socially specific background values. Scientific facts are not just theory-laden, but are also value-laden.
Pause.
According to the social...
Just again, he's not citing anyone. Like, if he had actually put up a real person here and quoted a real, person he could use to respond to, then I would have a bit more confidence that he was accurately, at least presenting the person's own words. But what I get here is the filter of his understanding of what these things are, not the actual representation. You know how, like, I think it was Bertrand Russell said, never trust a stupid man's report of what a clever man says, because the stupid man will unconsciously translate everything he hears into something he can understand. So Croc, I don't want to call him, like, here, I'm not going to say he's stupid, but what I'm saying is that he's unconsciously translating what he's hearing into his scientific worldview, as opposed to understanding it on its own merits and trying to steelman it. So it's just another critique of his methodology, or method, I should say.
True, but Bertrand Russell also said, bring a bucket and a mop for this wet-ass pussy. So,
yeah. Hop on top, I want to ride, I do a kegel when it's inside. I'm pretty sure he said that.
See, no, I know he's dead, but if I ever got a chance to fuck him, I'd have to spit in his mouth now. That's what I'm bringing to the table, people.
All right.
I can't science, but I can spit in dead philosophers' mouths. Oh, grim. Anyway.
Constructionists, whether it's because of differences in epistemic privilege by virtue of different social situations, differences in the psychologies of different groups due to differences in upbringing, or the unique historical and cultural contexts that shape every discourse, including science.
Pause.
Every science.
Now, of course, so again, when we talk about the introduction of standpoints and deconstruction and all this stuff, again, I wish he would have cited somebody real. But I'm talking about how we construct our theories. And with social constructionism, we're looking at the way that human influences will frame these things. And he doesn't have a good counterpoint to that. He's just going to complain a lot, but he doesn't, again, really honestly engage with it. Okay. go ahead and hit play. I'm sorry.
Scientists will construct scientific knowledge in a manner that reflects their place in society. A privileged member of society will incorporate one set of background values into their models in order to maintain the status quo. An oppressed member of society...
Now, here, again, he's not quoting anyone. But when I looked at this, I would think, hey, what about the Tuskegee study, where black men were allowed to be experimented on to see the long-term effects of syphilis?
Yeah.
Right? How about the fact that the mostly cis male-dominated medical sciences decided that it's really inconvenient that women have hormonal changes, so we'll just use men as our test subjects, and we'll assume women will be fine.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah.
Lots of things get smuggled in to preserve the status quo, and he's just mocking it like it's not a thing when it is.
Indeed.
Will incorporate another set of background values into their models in order to bring about emancipatory change. Neither model has any objective advantage over the other because both are ultimately the subjective expressions of whoever develops them.
Also, he's assigning intention where it's not necessarily there. Because no one's thinking to themselves, not no one, but I think few people, when doing anything, think to themselves, oh, I'm going to try and uphold the patriarchy today. Because that's not how things happen. It's like an underlying implicit bias.
That's a good... He basically tries to use that assumption, yes.
And when oppressed groups do a thing, they're not saying, I am definitely going to try and overthrow some power structures today. No, it's just the way they operate because they're used to a certain set of circumstances. And
what I said before, about what I said before about the perspectives of if you take a capitalist perspective and theories and operation, and you find things in the world to represent those concepts, measurements, right? And you do the Marxist one. If both studies are rigorous and both studies are have good valid measures and good data collection and the appropriate statistical analysis, I can't say that the capitalist is right. I have two different analyses of data from two different theoretical perspectives. So if they were both done correctly, I can't say one's better than the other.
So Kristi is a communist confirmed?
I'm just saying he doesn't think outside the lens of physics as to why these critiques came up and how they are actually very relevant to a lot of applications of the scientific method.
Yeah. We good to go?
I think so, yeah. We're going to wrap this up pretty quick because I think we've given him the fair amount of time to let him make his argument on why science is not a social construct, which I still don't have a good answer for, but continue.
Kristi, he's dug out all of the nuggets of science from the science mines. Okay?
Yep, stacked them up.
Indeed. So, it's not a social construct. He's one of the finest science geologists of his generation. Actually, that's not... But no shade at geology. That's also a science. I mean... like as if it was developing in strata, like diamonds and shit. Anyway.
Scientific model is taken to be informed by the values that are held by the scientists who develop it, which in turn are determined by which demographics those scientists belong to.
Again, pause. He's making this claim that your demographic variables, social constructionists say your demographic variables are going to determine these things. And I don't believe that's the case. I don't think he can actually find a quote. I think what they talk about is awareness of the way your situation, represented by your demographics, locates you in a society. And that is the point. It's not saying, oh, I'm a white person, therefore I have to do this kind of model. Nobody's saying that. No one's saying, oh, I'm a woman, so I can't run that kind of statistical analysis. Or no, nobody's saying that. It's just ridiculous. So what he does for the rest of the video basically is like slag off social constructionism while putting up these selective screenshots with very provocative sentences highlighted, but then never actually talking about anything in them, which to me is very deceptive. But I think we've covered enough now to set the stage for his real reply to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, again, he's literally calling it... He called the video that sort of set it up as The Return of the King, which is pretty embarrassing. And then this one's called... Just soak this in. Nuking social constructionism.
Let's see if he gets the definition of it right this time. Spoilers, he doesn't.
And this
Buckle
is
up,
part
people.
1, people.
Oh,
so.
now you need your bingo card. Now you need the bingo card.
Oh, okay. Boop. There we go.
Maybe play it at 1.25 because it is
This
like
video
20 minutes. And let's just get through it. And yeah, subtitles too would be helpful probably just to...
Okay, but don't necessarily, because they're auto-generated, so they might not necessarily be perfect. Okay?
Correct. Yes. Also, the bingo card now is a little bit in the way.
Good. Fuck him.
Okay, all right.
I mean, frankly, if I had my way, it'd be that. Okay? But that would be so.
Come on, minion.
Anyway, there we go.
Okay.
series will put forward my positive argument for why I believe science, at its core, is not a social construct. This is in contrast to
Because it grows in the fields, yeah. We know. You
Yeah,
plant it, and then
You water it.
water it.
You
and
weed
all that.
it.
But
Yeah.
make sure you do crop rotation on your sciences, okay? 1 year you have physics in the one field, some chemistry in the other. You leave a field fallow.
Yeah, and then you get some more science out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Crop rotation and
It's
stuff.
important, people, okay?
Crop rotation in the 14th century was considerably more widespread after... Sorry, that was from the young ones.
Yeah.
That was deep cut.
Otherwise, you just end up with Dust Bowl, okay? No one needs that nonsense again.
Yep,
The
yep.
science Dust Bowl could be devastating.
the negative arguments that I offered 3 years ago in my video, Is Science a Social Construct?, wherein I merely pointed out why I find social constructionist arguments about the nature of scientific inquiry to be deeply unconvincing. But before I can unveil the positive argument, which I have christened the Naturalist Nuke, I must first develop the philosophical
Sorry, he's going to come up with
a
something.
Meme. He's a living
Yeah.
meme. The Naturalist Nuke. You sad cunt. The fuck is wrong with you? Like,
What's
genuinely, just stop.
Honestly, his naturalist nuke is just taking other people's ideas and putting them together. and then they're not even like I'll break down the why they don't work anyway, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
groundwork that the argument rests upon. And that is the aim of this video, to assemble the core of the nuke. The motivation for this video series came from the political scientist, Kristi Winters, who created
Is that Kristi with an E, Winters, or...
Yeah, I know it's kind of there's so many of them out there.
Yeah, they're fucking everywhere. You let one woman speak, and then all of a sudden all of them want to speak. Jesus.
3 videos objecting to the content of Is Science a Social Construct? I have made an introductory video discussing the specific context of our dispute a few days prior to the release of this video. It is advised that the viewer watch that video before coming to this one. Before I begin developing my philosophy of science, I want to remind the audience that very few
Again, he thinks he's Socrates or something. I
Yes.
guarantee it. In his own head, he's at the academy, just chatting away with some ancient Greeks, because he's just, I'm science man.
He loves this. He will often actually. You can already go ahead and do fallacy of quoting out of context because he quotes a ton of people out of context out of this. But if you count screen, showing something on screen as a quote.
Hang on, which one? Quoting
Well,
out
it's
of,
okay.
of context. There we go.
Yeah. There's more of them, but we'll just put this one down. I don't think Socrates would agree with King Croc.
No.
He was a philosopher.
So while Socrates himself was particularly missed, I love a little thinker, but a bugger when he's pissed.
Bugger when he's pissed. Just a bugger when he's pissed, that guy.
stances in philosophy can properly be regarded as unassailable. You can put 3 philosophers in the same room, and you won't even be able to get them to agree that there are 3 philosophers in the same room. That being said, philosophical...
That's not literally true, though, is it?
No, it's
I know the point. I know it's meant to be a silly kind of, thing, but it's still. I mean, it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. Is that a beard? Is that a full beard on his chest there?
could be.
Because that's
Are
lovely
you
work.
envious?
Well done to
Yeah.
you, sir. Yeah. No, not envious. Appreciative is the way I
Yeah.
would describe it.
projects aren't merely hopeless exercises in navel-gazing. Or at least they don't have to be. There can be immense benefit in clarifying how one organizes one's conception of a topic, even if no one else in the world can agree, either with this person or with each other, on every last detail. It doesn't really matter to me if you find my arguments unconvincing. If I've provoked you into thinking more seriously about these topics, then I've succeeded in my aims.
Okay, babe.
Oh, but I thought it was coming at me. I mean, he kind of made that explicit in the last video.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for the purposes of this video, I cannot offer a comprehensive exposition of my philosophy of science. Time simply doesn't permit me to rigorously justify every last proposition that I make, which opens my perspective up to criticisms that might otherwise have been avoided had I offered a more complete picture of my opinions.
Actually, I need to move those.
Yeah, that would be better. Perfect.
There we go.
Thank you. I didn't know you
There
could
will
do
be
that.
videos in which I do more than merely offer a sketch of what it is that I believe, and systematically develop the entirety of my thought on these matters, but this is not that video. I therefore implore the viewer to apply the principle of charity when evaluating what I have to say in the next few sections, and try...
Because he does it.
Yeah, this particular neck-bearded minion and social scientist piece of shit are definitely going to be very charitable to you. You've earned it.
He wasn't charitable to social construction practitioners, social constructionism, or people who practice it at all. He had no charity for them. No. And yet, so it's just, yeah.
Try to imagine how I might answer your objections before posting them in the comments. Given how long I've been grappling with these ideas, chances are that I've already considered the objections and that I do have answers to them, and you have my word that I will address them all in follow-up videos. With that out of the way, let's start by establishing my view of the relationship between science and philosophy. Traditionally, philosophy has enjoyed the status of first knowledge, as an activity associated with the formulation of the grounds on which the understanding of reality, as well as the justification of knowledge claims, can be based. This status is one in which epistemology and ontology, which respectively concern themselves with the nature of knowledge and existence, are developed prior to the doing of any science, and this is the approach that Kristi Winters endorses.
Pause. First question. It's not just how knowledge is accrued. Let me talk a little bit. So ontology is to ask, what does it mean? Well, lots of things. What exists? What does it mean to exist? What can we say exists? How could, and from, again, if you're looking at the application of the scientific method to a question, and that is your goal, then when you're doing anything that involves just like the natural world, we'll take people out of it, anything in the natural world, it is, you can observe it. Now you might need a telescope or a microscope or whatever, but it relies primarily on observation. When we want to ask, do people in democracies have a higher quality of life? We can't go out and look at democracy. We can't go out and look at happiness. We have to find ways of measuring that by asking people their views on things, and then applying a existing theory and concepts to that in order to make measurements. And so this is why it's really important to understand what you think you're measuring, what you think exists. For instance, aging is a process. We can't directly observe aging, but we can capture the process of aging by asking people their age in years and including that as a control variable in when we do our estimates. And so we're not directly measuring it, but we're sort of indirectly measuring it through that concept, right? And again, in the natural sciences, he gets mad at me for this, but those kind of questions really aren't as pressing, right? When you talk about measuring quarks or you talk about distances or the speed of light, it's not comparable to trying to conceptualize democracy in a way that can be measured across multiple countries with different forms of democratic governments. And so, again, he might not have a whole lot of issue with these, but that doesn't mean people who practice science don't. And that's my perspective is I'm looking at science generally. And I think his myopic view of just computer information, physics, chemistry, things that we can look at in a lab, it's the core of his disconnect.
Yeah, fair enough. I was just going to say I'm forever measuring quarks, mate.
Yes, I'm forever measuring quarks, tiny quarks in the air. That's a reference to West Ham for people who don't know. I'm forever blowing bubbles. Yeah. I dated a West Ham fan. Which,
by the way, one of my favourite silly jokes about was it. What does Michael Jackson and West Ham United have in common?
Yeah, so if you see on my slide there, this is taken from an author he's going to throw shade at, and I don't know why. But you can see epistemology says, what and how can we know about what exists? What's out there? How does it exist? And what and how? How can we know about it? And that's a methodology. That leads on to your methodology, your approach for studying the question.
Yeah.
These are very linked. You have to understand what you want to measure before you can apply a method of measurement and analysis.
Okay. We good?
Yep. is what exists. And science is out there to produce reliable knowledge about what exists. And what you think exists will determine what you investigate. And therefore, if you don't think that there is any social reality, well, this is going to influence your research agenda. But we'll get on to bias in a second. After you, well, not in conjunction with knowing or thinking that you know or wanting to explore how things exist, what exists, the next step is how do we know about it? And this is where science comes in. And the fundamental problem that King Crocoduck makes in his video is that he skips epistemology and he goes right to methodology. And I'll explain methodology in a second. Epistemology is the process by which we can know about the thing we think exists. So your ontology, what you think exists, will influence the kind of questions you ask. What approach to epistemology you adopt in trying to answer those questions, and the methods you use, and how you interpret your results. All science is a process of knowledge production. That's what science is. It is a method for producing knowledge. And if you look at it within that system, or within that definition, it automatically becomes a social construct.
From these clips, it's evident that Kristi takes science, which she correctly characterizes in methodological terms, to be dependent upon a prior set of epistemological commitments, in which it has decided how the objects of scientific investigation can be known. This in turn depends on a prior set of ontological commitments, in which it has decided what sorts of things can be said to exist, and therefore be proper objects of scientific investigation. And crucially, since it is human beings who agree, via authoritative consensus, what sorts of things exist and how they can be understood, then the methodological practices which constitute science are, fundamentally, a product.
No, the whole thing is socially constructed. That social constructed part should go all the way to the top. Because science is a process. See, this is a mistake. Right
Well, I would say that's a straw man then, because he was describing what your argument was, and it's wrong.
Yes.
So
Yes. I would. Science itself is an agreement between people. So all of that, and the methods, and the fact that we adopt them and agree to use them and accept their results, is socially constructed.
Yeah. So just elongate that to the top.
Yeah.
Of agreements between humans. Science emerges from a philosophical foundation, and the philosophical foundation is socially constructed. Therefore, science is socially constructed.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, cool. Yes. Sorry, I only watched this through once. I don't have all of it memorized, but we'll take away that straw man for the moment.
Oh, okay. Undo. There we go.
Oh, he'll get into that later. It's okay.
My fundamental error, according to Kristi, is that I went straight to methodology without first talking about epistemology and ontology. This, in her view, betrays my ignorance of the philosophy of science.
Well, in that case, but we haven't talked about science being a social construct yet. He still hasn't answered that question, but sorry. Go ahead.
Ignorance which she takes to be common among natural scientists. Had I understood that scientific methodology lies upon a philosophical foundation, I surely would never have tried to argue that science isn't a social construct. If only I weren't ignorant about the fact that philosophy was invented thousands of years before science. Indeed, that philosophers practically invented science. Silly me. So how am I to respond to this?
Is that appeal to ridicule?
Yeah, I would say. Well, yes. He'll ridicule me. Actually, I had a picture in mind for that one, but... Yeah.
I think that's ridicule. When he's doing the silly voice, that's enough.
Yeah.
Well, first, I'm going to start by rejecting philosophy as a foundation for scientific practice. This is not a rejection of philosophy per se, just a rejection of the role that Kristi and others like her assign to it. As a naturalist, I do not accept philosophy's claim to the special status traditionally allocated to it. I do not recognize the legitimacy of the epistemologists, the ontologists, or the metaphysicians who presume it to be their job to set the agenda for scientific practice prior to any input by the science.
I don't think that's what they're doing.
That's a straw man. Yeah, that's a straw man.
Well, I can't argue that none of them are. Maybe there are some,
but no,
they're not trying to set the agenda for anything.
This is like they've debated. What philosophers do is, they have debates and they look at the world and they do, all kinds of. They're trying to get to what they think is accurate or knowledge. It depends on the philosophy. Like music might be different, right? Yeah. But in terms of the philosophy of science, the questions are: what is truth? How? What does it mean to say that something is a fact? Can we rely on our perceptions of things? These are fundamental questions about the process of science, and so you can't get away from them. They're not setting the agenda. They're actually helping scientists understand what it is they're studying about the world, about what exists, and also being able to tell people convincingly why they should accept their explanations. When you say, this is how I know this exists. That's epistemology. How do we know, right? And other thing is like, epistemology is like empiricism. It's saying I'm going to ground my things in observation. So I don't quite understand his objection to an epistemological framework.
Well, a great point in the Twitch chat. They basically point out, as a philosophical position, I do not accept philosophy. That his underlying philosophical assumptions, which he then builds his science on, is a philosophical position in which he rejects philosophical positions as an underlying reason for science.
Thank you. Who pointed that out?
Alex Roivas.
High five to you.
Yeah, excellent work. Excellent work. Also, a bit of statue nip. That's lovely.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the beard again.
No, well, the beard speaks for itself. I was ripping the nip.
Themselves.
Got it.
This is not to say that epistemology, ontology, and metaphysics have no role in science. On the contrary, I think they're essential. But rather that the relationship between the philosopher and the science...
What are you talking about? What? Oh, this is nonsense now. I don't reject it. They're absolutely there, but I'm going to argue they're not there. Or shouldn't be there, or whatever, I don't know. It's wank.
Is not, as Kristi suggests, unidirectional, with a decidedly philosophical foundation. I think that the relationship between science and philosophy, at least when these activities are done well, is mutually interactive. In other words, I think that metaphysics, ontology, and epistemology should fundamentally be informed by the contents of our best empirical theories, which result from the application of scientific methodology, and that the role of these philosophical modes of thought, when applied fruitfully, is to help facilitate scientific practice via the clarification and reorganization of concepts relevant to those theories.
Isn't that literally what you were saying?
No, what he wants is philosophy be the handmaiden of science.
Right.
The job of philosophy is to accept what the scientists say about the world and then figure out how it works in their philosophies, because they're doing the true stuff. Right. They're doing the real stuff. And so basically what he's saying is whatever science happens to think at the time is the ontology is what philosophy should accept as the ontology. What science says exists is what philosophy should just accept exists and not ask questions. And not push things or challenge ideas or ask questions. And that's the problem, is that I see, it's the order of priority. And he wants to say that, well, I will let him say it, but in terms of this interrelationship, if the idea is that philosophy is meant to figure out things for science, then it's not really doing its job as philosophy.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? Some of the questions asked by philosophy aren't addressed by science. And to then also tie our assumptions about what exists to whatever science says exists means that we are dependent on science making progress. Like, what happens if it changes? Right? So again, this sort of like really narrowing of the ability of philosophers to do their jobs or to ask questions or to think about things. And also, yes, it's not so much that philosophers are dictating to scientists what to do. However, if you're going to study the world, it is good to know what you think exists and how and understand how it is you're going about knowing about that thing. It will make your research. Let me give an example. Right? When I have a question about party identification, as a social scientist, I have multiple ways of exploring this question. I can ask people a question on a survey. I can do an experiment in a lab and provide people some, let's say, negative images or videos about their party and ask them about their party ID before and after, right? Or I can qualitatively go and talk to people about what it means to be a member of a party and what got them in and what is important. Like, all of those things are empirical, and the question I want to ask or answer for all of those will depend on what kind of question I want to ask. So I have a survey method, I have an experimental method, and I have an interview method. Which is the right method to get to answer my question will depend on epistemologically what I'm looking for. I don't know if I have explained that well, but these things are, yeah.
Well, yeah, I understood what you were getting at, and that's all that matters.
The result is a positive feedback loop in which scientific methodology tests models, philosophy helps...
Also, TGG come up with a good point in the YouTube chat. King Crocoduck just says that the philosophers created science, like constructed by a society of philosophers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kinda.
Yep.
to refine the models by clarifying and reorganizing their attendant concepts. Scientific methodology then tests those revised models, and philosophy
So you
responds
see how
by
it's a
revising its
handmaiden?
epistemic.
Yeah.
It starts with science, it goes to philosophy, you do the job for us, and then we'll see whether or not, you've done some good work.
Ontological and metaphysical concepts in light of the revised model's results. And for reasons that I'll be developing in the next video, I think that methodology is what kicks off this entire process. We don't begin with premises about what exists and what can be known, and from them deduce a scientific program, but rather begin with
you
methodological
do.
modes of thought, from which
Pause. Sorry. Again, I just gave an example of 3 different modes of analysis I could do. And if I'm going to do experimental stuff and survey stuff, I have a certain assumption about the causal relationship between, those 2 phenomenon, party identification and voting or whatever, right? But if I want to understand human psychology, and then I use the qual method, because I want to hear what people say and understand how they're putting words together and what words they choose, and look for maybe patterns in the ways people use language, even across party identification, but that sense of what it means to be a member of a party, or is it different by party? So again, your methodology definitely depends on what you think you're trying to get at here.
Also, Haruka, this is part 1. I don't know when he's going to drop part 2, but it's going to be absolute fire.
we organize our philosophical programs. In expressing the relationship...
Also, he says at one point this is a series, so it could be part 3, 4, 5, who knows, but...
I think there are 3 parts, he said.
Oh, 3, good lord.
Yeah. But maybe, I don't know, there might be more.
That might create some sort of black hole of self-interested fucking fart huffery. Possibly.
Science and philosophy in this manner, I have essentially stated that there is nothing special about ontology and epistemology in relation to scientific methodology. These philosophical modes of thought don't come prior to science, but in fact respond to it. Even if it were true that philosophy has historically preceded science, which, as we'll see in the next video, I don't believe to actually be the case, this would not prohibit...
Our friend Alex wants me to pass on a message to you. They say, can you tell Kristi there are philosophical arguments going on right now in physics, like, does string theory qualify as science? So all this applies to physics as well, even if the biases aren't socially based, or the same kind encountered in social sciences.
Yeah. I'll also just kind of give a little preview of this. As he proceeds, he is going to assume a material ontology, things exist materially, and he is going to take a very, like a specific epistemological approach in terms of like how he can measure things in the world. So what he does is he just skips ontology and epistemology and assumes those things. And then says, oh, now I'm just doing science. And I don't have to bother with the things that I've actually already assumed.
Fair point. That's why bother justifying anything? It's fine. Yes.
Okay.
But the relationship between them from being organized in the manner that I've just described. The basic idea that the duties of the philosopher are carried out in tandem with, as opposed to prior to, the duties of the scientist, has been a staple of naturalistic approaches to the philosophy of science for decades. Indeed, the most celebrated expositor of naturalized epistemology, Willard Quine, introduced the first major iteration of that program over 50 years ago, when he cast epistemology in psychological terms, thus placing this formerly philosophical enterprise under the umbrella of scientific thought. Pragmatist modes of philosophical thought, which similarly reject the kind of a priori theorizing that I'm railing against, originated 100 years prior with the works of Charles Sanders Peirce. The point being, I'm not making this stuff up.
Wait, pause. A priori theorizing. Ontology and epistemology don't lead to theorizing. That's not the same. Theory is the next step, right? So I don't understand why his a priori theorizing here. It's not... A theory is a testable thing. Yeah. We're talking about your sort of assumptions about how you think the world works before you investigate it. So again, I don't think he quite understands that.
Landscape for the past 150 years. Kristi Winters is not a naturalist. Her understanding of the philosophy of science is very clearly predicated, almost exclusively, on this book by Jonathan Griggs, which explicitly advocates an anti-naturalist...
Okay, no, let it run, and then I'm going to debunk this shit harshly.
Approach. Her slides pertaining to the philosophy of science, which she used in order to develop the basis for her critique of my philosophy, are practically copy and pasted from chapter 4 of his book. This is an unusual decision because Griggs is a scholar of sports studies. He's a researcher in the politics of sports. That doesn't make him an illegitimate source for a person's understanding of the philosophy of science, but he certainly is an unusual one. Ordinarily,
I'd say that still counts as poisoning the well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like, you can't be like, I'm not saying he's a pile of shit. I'm just showing you a picture of a pile of shit, and you come to your own conclusion. It's fine.
Yeah. This guy is okay. So I give you a link to who this guy is. And by the way, in those notes that he shows, and that this one that he's quoting from, I start off with 4 books that I say, in particular, informed the lecture because they were.
Is that the link you're after?
Yes.
Right.
It is.
And
I give the name of 4 social survey or social research methods books as the first slide. And he had access to those slides, and he watched my video. And I took the reason I put the asterisks here is because it's the image is from Grix. I basically reproduced the image, and that's why I attributed him. I didn't list him in the sources, and the reason why he's listed is for his image. But let's look at this book. So first of all, Palgrave Macmillan is a well-known academic publisher. They have review processes, and this book is, at least in 2004, was in its 2nd edition. So it had been republished. And I just want to take you through the table of contents if you scroll down. So this is the person he's trying to throw under the bus. The nature of research, the nuts and bolts of research, getting started. Go ahead, scroll down. Like types of study, levels, types of analysis, the building blocks of research. Ontology, epistemology, differing ontological and epistemological views, the directional relationship between ontology, epistemology, methodology, methods, and sources, and then example of the social capital debate. Then there's a discussion of research paradigms, the types and the uses of theory, introduction to both quantitative and qualitative research methods, using both of them, and also triangulation, and then also academic standards, ethics, and things like, what is plagiarism? This is the guy he's objecting to. Why? Because he happens to work in sports science. Here's a newsflash, Croc. If you do science, like if you understand the philosophy of science and the practice of science, you can go into any field and apply your science. This is my point. It's not about physics or not just about the naturalist worldview. There are other people, like sports people do stuff with, like this guy's been cited 5,000 times.
5,765 times.
Yeah, he is the professor of sports policy at Manchester Metropolitan University, and he's the journal editor for an academic journal published by Routledge. I mean, who are you, Croc, to shit on this guy? I mean, seriously, let's see your publication record. Let's see your doctorate.
Oh, well.
Let's see your book.
Kristi, please. He was published in my comment section half an hour before the start of this, which is where big brain thinky think science people do all of their big brain thinky think science.
Yeah, but did he show his viewers this? Or did he deceptively edit it while he poisoned the well against a guy whose chart I cited?
He did crop off the bit, which, hang on, is that on the screen for everyone? Hang on. Yeah, look, he cropped it there but after the year. So you don't see the full number of citations and co-authors and all the rest of it.
Transparency?
Yeah, it's a bit... That's a little deceptive, that one, Croc. Anyway, so that's Jonathan Grix.
Yes. So I just want to defend Jonathan Grix, who's only got mentioned by him because I liked his diagram. But the rest of it, the reason why it's very similar to his book is because all social research methods books have these principles in them. They are widely taught and accepted, and they're basis for peer review and knowledge production.
Well, you say that, but you're clearly in the pocket of Big Grix.
I'm clearly in the pocket of big academia.
Well, that is literally true. You are paid to be in academia. Yeah, that is kind of true. But then that's fine because academia is actually probably a positive. I think we can agree it's a positive thing.
Yeah, I think it generally contributes to life.
Anyway, so Kristi.
Yeah.
If one wishes to understand the philosophy of science, it's helpful to consult with the works of, philosophers. For my own part,
you mean like Jonathan Grix?
Well, again, that thing wasn't just philosophy. If you look at the chart, it was about the scientific method, including ontology, epistemology, methodology, methods, data analysis and conclusions. So again, that's a straw man.
Yeah.
I think we already got that.
Yeah, no straw. Well, I'll put another circle around it. Fuck it.
Double circle.
And highly influenced by people like Willard Quine, Charles Sanders Peirce, Susan Hack, Daniel Dennett, David Hume, Alexander Rosenberg, Karl Popper, Patricia Churchland, and John Bickel. I'm not saying that a
By the
person...
way, pause.
Not
Pause.
a great beard ratio on that list.
Yeah. Again, what he omits is the lecture slides that I was working from contains an entire history of sort of like the philosophy of science in a breathless pace, is what I call. And I go from Greeks all the way up through like postmodern thinkers. But he doesn't mention that was also like in the lecture notes. Interesting.
But you can't say postmodern 2 more times, because if you say it 3 times, Jordan Peterson will appear.
Oh, okay. All right. I think he's busy right now, so we don't want to bother him.
I don't know. Is he out of his coma yet? Hey-oh.
Oh.
Philosophy of science necessarily has to be influenced by philosophers alone. There have been important figures, like Thomas Kuhn and Nassim Nicholas Taleb, who have been major influences on my own philosophy of science, despite the fact that they themselves never received degrees in philosophy.
Home slice.
I'm just...
Pause.
What?
Yeah, pause.
You have a philosophy of science? What? What's going on there? I thought you rejected that.
Also, I've never said only philosophers can have views on the... Again, this is another straw man. Bertrand Russell Wittgenstein made really, great contributions, first as a logical positives, but then later on more critical of logical positivism as an approach to knowledge construction. Sorry, that's really wanky, like academic-y stuff that I can get into at another time.
Well, okay, well, I'll mollify that.
This is another...
Go on.
It's another freaking straw man. I never said only philosophers. Or nobody said this. Again, this is like the social constructionism. He's arguing with himself.
All I'll say is I'll mollify that then by saying Wittgenstein was a beery swine.
Who is just as schlossed as Schlegel.
True.
saying that it's unusual to lean so heavily on the work of a sports studies.
Again, I didn't, you lying piece of crap.
Yeah.
That's just a lie. Go look at my lecture notes.
Also,
they're
I'm
on
gonna
academia.edu, and they're also like, I'm in the top 1% of people whose stuff is accessed on academia.edu, in a large part because of my lecture notes.
I think that counts as ad hominem as well, because he's
yeah.
mentioning
Yes,
the
it is.
science, the sports thing, because if that's an unworthy field of expertise or whatever, which is not the point because it's philosophy.
Well, in this case, he's applying his scientific approaches in different ways. Like, he's got a qualitative investigation. He's got one where they do other stuff,
But he's saying, like, he's doing he's a sports science man, and therefore he can't know about the proper science man. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic.
Yeah, a professor can't know about the philosophy of science, but a random YouTuber is more authoritative.
True.
A guy who has a book published on doing research, and social research.
Exactly.
Great.
If I want epistemology stuff, I go to YouTube. That's not to say there probably are good videos about epistemology on YouTube.
No, there are.
This
If
is
you
not
go
one
look
of
at
them. But
And you know what?
the one we're looking at does not count. But yeah,
They're going to be tied up with ontology, and they're going to linked to material like observations. But anyway,
Scholar when forming your own understanding of the philosophy of science, and it helps to explain why Kristi was so bewildered by some of the decisions that I made in the video that she's
also we got a
criticized.
line, so I think that counts as bingo. But
She seems oblivious to naturalistic accounts of science, which is embarrassing given her repeated accusation that I'm the one who's ignorant
there
of the
you go.
philosophy of science.
That was the one I was going
It's
to
like she
appeal
isn't
to
aware that
ridicule.
naturalism,
That's appeal.
for at
And
least the
appeal
past 50
despite.
years, has been predicated upon the rejection of the statuses of
she took a picture that with a silly face.
Oh, it was carnival. I was going out and
Exactly, yeah, but the
clowns
point
are
is,
like the carnival thing.
Look,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
dressed up as nothing but a clown, that would be a little weird, unless you changed profession, I suppose. But the point is, they did a silly picture. We don't even know what you look like, dickhead. Like, come on. It's so...
Also, can we go back and look at how
Silly.
cute I looked in that picture? Because I had a really good time. I was going out to, I'll tell you all about it. I was going out to a Mädchensitzung, which is like a women's party, and it's like women get together and get drunk and celebrate carnival. And it was a lot of fun. And it was a really cute picture.
Can I apologise for that outbreak of foreignness on the stream? Sorry.
So again, and also another straw man, because I don't know what he just basically posits that I hold a view, and I'll have to listen to it to see if I agree with him. But he could also have just asked me. But anyway, we'll move on. We can hit.
But anyway, Kristi, your face paint game is strong, and therefore you can't do the science. Not allowed.
I can't be a person.
No.
aware that naturalism, for at least the past 50 years, has been predicated upon the rejection of the statuses of ontology and epistemology as first knowledge, as something prior to the scientific activity. What I did, in going straight to methodology, without first sitting in an armchair and speculating about what exists and what can be known about epistemology as first knowledge.
All right, pause,
as something
pause, because he doesn't actually read this out. So what does it say?
Oh, hang on, I'll get rid of bingo for a second. There we go.
Okay. You have your... Okay. Naturalism is an approach to philosophical problems that interprets them as tractable through the methods of the empirical sciences, or at least without distinctively a priori project of theorizing. Okay, I mean, I don't see a problem there because you can do inductive, which is what qualitative is. Much of the history of philosophy has been widely held that philosophy involves a distinctive method. A philosophy holds a distinctive method and could achieve knowledge distinct from that attained by the special sciences. All right. Thus, metaphysics and epistemology have often jointly occupied a position of first philosophy. I don't hold any of these views. Laying the necessary grounds for the understanding of reality and the justification of knowledge claims. Naturalism rejects philosophy's claim to that special status. Well, I'm not saying that they're first philosophers. I'm saying that the philosophy exists and we can draw upon it. I mean, I think that, again, I think your assumptions about what exists are prior to your investigation of the world, even if they're unconscious. But whether it's epistemology, ethics, philosophy of mind, or other areas, naturalism seeks to show that philosophical problems are traditionally conceived are ill-formulated and can be solved or displaced by appropriate naturalist methods. So again, this is about philosophy being second to science. Naturalism often assigns a role to the methods and results of empirical sciences, and sometimes you move the screen. So
sorry, I keep forgetting you're reading from the fucking screen.
Yeah. Is my voice that natural? I don't think so. Okay, where was I? And sometimes aspires to reductionism and physicalism. However, there are many versions of naturalism, and some are explicitly non-scientistic. What they share is a repudiation of the view of philosophy as exclusively a priori theorizing concerning with a distinctively philosophical set of questions. Okay, I don't know that I really have a good understanding of naturalism based on that description. That's a lot of heavy lifting, especially for like a YouTube audience.
Well, and to be fair, to be fair to the article, it does go on beyond that, which might explain it better. But obviously, we only got this screenshot.
Yeah.
I could look it up.
I don't think that either ontology or epistemology require a priori theorizing concerning a distinctively philosophical set of questions. So yeah, definitely a straw man. Yeah. I'm a naturalist. I mean, I'm a materialist, but I don't know. This doesn't sound like anything I think.
Yeah.
Naturalism is when you don't wear any clothes.
Yeah.
That's what.
Ew.
Thanks, chat.
Prior to the scientific activity. What I did, in going straight to methodology, without first sitting in an armchair and speculating about what exists and what can be known about it, has been standard practice among naturalists for half a century now, and Kristi might have known that and recognized its application in my video had she read more widely than just those texts, which confirm the position that she's already habitual.
What he's done is say, I believe ontologically that there is a foundationalist materialist world, and epistemologically, I think these whatever set of observations are going to be the way to get me to that process. So what he did was he just assumed his ontology and his epistemology. And then he thinks, oh, I didn't do them. No, you just assumed them. They're still there.
Yeah. Because he is the embodiment of the internet meme of I am science, therefore I'm completely right. I'm like a robot man. I don't have feelings, I only have facts. And that is it.
He's putting up confirmation bias when this isn't an issue of confirmation bias. And he still hasn't explained how science is not a social construct and what it is if it's not.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing this out. He's still avoiding that question.
He could have just showed us his science farming method. Again,
it was
rotate your crops, people.
Situated towards. All I'm saying is, it's not a good look when your understanding of the philosophy of science is limited to the contents of an obscure work by some sports studies scholar, and then when confronted with material issuing from literature outside of the very narrow domain that you've been reading in, you mistake it for ignorance.
Throwing shade.
Yeah, appeal to emotion and appeal to spite. And cherry picking. I think we've got all of those now, because he's picking out Grix when he knows, in that video and in my public notes, there are actual research books listed, and that is, he's credited. He's not cited as a source, he's credited for his image.
Exactly.
All right.
I know that standing up on that hill gives
herring.
you the impression that you can see farther than I can, Kristi, but that's only because you're unfamiliar with the terrain. In any event, the manner in which I conceptualize...
Also, it's very interesting that he's totally not Dunning-Kruger because he knows he's at the good end of it.
I also think he's done red herring at this point, too.
Is he?
Red herring is a kind of a shifting of the topic, isn't it? To get away from something, and the way, like, well, let's say complaining about Grix.
I thought it was distraction by putting in a thing that's not relevant.
Well, I don't think the Grix thing is at all relevant.
Okay, fuck it, red herring.
It literally is.
Bingo!
We might find a few more. We still have, unfortunately, a couple of minutes left, but I'll try to stop talking now, because I think people can see through this.
Well, we got bingo, so fuck it, it's going. Boom.
Is he on 1.25?
He is.
Oh, God. Maybe 1.5.
Fuck it, yeah.
He's still slow.
The relationship between science and philosophy defeats this particular charge of social constructionism. According to Kristi, accounts of what exists and what criteria are associated with the acquisition of knowledge, the objects of ontology and epistemology, are fundamentally a product of authoritative consensus. I, on the other hand, take these to actually be the result of the application of scientific methodology, at least when they're done well. Moreover, since I take the natural methodology that we typically associate with scientific practice to be the activity that kicks things off in this relationship, the entirety of my philosophical program becomes naturalized. I submit to you that the only things that we have any right to say exist are those things which are posited by the contents of our best empirical theories, and that the only things that we get to call knowledge are those things which...
Okay, so how do you get to empirical theories? You look at the things in the world. So what he's saying is the things in the world exist, we know they exist because of the theories that we built based on what we saw in the world.
Yeah.
That's how we prove they exist.
Basically, yeah. It's the I am science, hear me roar.
Yes.
It's nonsense. Anyway.
Yeah, that was all.
Yeah, thank you, Windows Paint. Now, I don't think I'll be saving the bingo card, but there we go.
At some point see application in those theories. What I've just said will require some justification, since there will inevitably be those who don't want to organize knowledge in this fashion, opting instead to abstract from some set of a priori premises pertaining either to what exists or to what can be known. And so it will pay to take a moment to distinguish...
He loves his weird a priori thing, trying to fix that to his opponent, which is pretty slippery. But there we go.
And also, he doesn't go. Can we let's stop at Blakey here, because I quoted Blakey, right? So Blakey offers a fuller definition of ontology, suggesting that ontological claims are claims and assumptions that are made about the nature of social reality. So here we're talking about social reality, right? Claims about what exists, what it looks like, what units make it up, and how these units interact with each other. In short, ontological assumptions are concerned with what we believe constitutes social reality. Now, you can take this to just nature, claims about nature, and all these things would still apply. And you still have to do that work, even if you think you're not doing it.
Yeah. Also, just for any British people, and this will be a reference only British people will get, I laughed when I heard Blakey too. Okay. Oh. That's from a show called On the Buses, which was a show from like the 70s or something.
Oh, anyway, gosh.
Shall I? Oh, fuck it, I'll show you. Bollocks to it. I'm bored of this cunt anyway.
By the way, if people in the chat, maybe you can look at the Twitch after this, Kevin, but in the YouTube chat, if you have any questions for me, if I'm unclear about anything, go ahead and throw those in there and we can take a little Q&A here. Most of you seem to get it.
Talking about finish. Go on, it's only just gone 2 o'clock.
Yeah, come on, darling, look, we're starving.
Yeah, I'm so hungry.
Things closed till 4, come on.
This Blakey, this character here.
Well, you'll have to go with that then, won't you? Come on, it'll do you good, get your weight.
Anyway, he was a stupid, arrogant prick. Anyway, but the point being, it's a comedy character.
His name is Blakey.
His name is Blakey, because the character's name was something Blake. So,
from the a priori approach endorsed by people like Jonathan Grix and Kristi Winters. To do this...
Oh, hang on. Whoa. Can't be having that.
Pragmatist perspective from the a priori approach endorsed by people like Jonathan Grix and Kristi Winters.
Spelt
Again,
Kristi. Kristi, who spells it like that? The fuck are you doing, closed captions?
Oh, yeah, they never get my name right.
Dickheads.
To do this, I'm going to start by clarifying what exactly I mean by scientific methodology, which I'll do by introducing what I call the Big Four operational criteria, or just Big Four for short. These criteria are the things that I take to be desirable properties of scientific models. They're also the core of my entire philosophical program.
They are the core of his philosophical program, right? Now, let's just take a look at these four. Predictive accuracy / precision. Right? There's a philosophical debate on if you predict something, have you explained it?
Yeah.
What is the connection between prediction and explanation? If you just because you can predict something doesn't mean you understand it. Your prediction might have been right, but it might be right for different reasons than you know. So one, that is a problem in terms of saying that prediction is explanation. There's actually more work to be done between those two concepts, like is ought. You can't just move from one to the other. Two, explanatory efficiency. He's going to say the most parsimonious model is the one that should be preferred. This shows he doesn't understand how other people use the scientific method. One, it cancels out all experiments. There are no models being tested in an experiment. You are looking for a causal relationship in your data collecting. Okay. And then also, a lot of times we're interested in which effects are the biggest. We are interested in how the model overall performs. What we want to know is when we run the model, which variables are the most important. So let me just explain it this way. According to King Crocoduck, political science only needs one variable to predict your vote choice, which is your party ID. It's the strongest variable. It's the best predictor we have of all the predictors. So if efficiency in model construction is what he says is science, then political science vote choice is literally just one variable. Because we can explain that much in one variable. But what goes into party identification? Right? And that, right? Optimal flexibility, I don't remember, and rational coherence. But these four operational criteria are basically him just taking things that he values from existing philosophy of science stuff.
Yeah.
And saying, this is my science.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We've been joined by another scientist.
Who dat?
Certain PZ Myers.
Oh, PZ. Oh, it's
No,
too bad
excuse
we
me.
didn't have a cross.
You're in Europe now. It's PZ.
PZ.
Thank you.
P to the Z. Stir.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, PZ?
But we're going to get the explanation of his... Well, let's back it up a little bit for PZ in case he's just...
Okay, but there's only so much backing up. We've been going an hour and a half.
No, you're right. Okay, so basically he's going to explain his criteria for what good science is. This is his philosophy of science.
PZ, along with the rest of them, can fucking scroll back if they want.
On YouTube you can, Twitch you can't.
True. Or you can wait to the end of the VOD and then just watch the whole thing again.
Yeah.
You can, well, fuck it, I'll shill. You can subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, subscribe to me on Twitch, Bits, Streamlabs messages, or Patreon for a regular recurring monthly donation. Shilling complete. Continuing. Oh, hang on, something happened, didn't it? I should probably point that. I'll get to it later. The Globo Homo went off, didn't it?
Over and over again for the remainder of this series. The first of these criteria is predictive accuracy and precision, which is pretty self-explanatory. Ceteris paribus, that is, all other things being equal, one model of some set of phenomena is preferable to another such model if it exhibits a superior capacity to predict future data, with superior defined in terms of accuracy and precision. The second of these criteria is explanatory efficiency,
Oh, sorry,
which can
can
be
you
thought of as containing...
pause? Again, just to show how narrow-minded and myopic this is. A lot of times in political science, when we are doing quants analysis, we'll do model competitions. We will take a sociological model, we'll take a party ID model, we'll take a cognitive engagement model, we'll take a social capital model, we'll take a rational choice model, and we'll run each of them individually and look to see which variables perform the best. And then we'll take those variables out and we'll put them up against each other to see how they perform, right? It's not about we're not trying to predict necessarily people's votes, we're trying to explain them. And again, this comes down to that real question, is prediction explanation? But yeah, it just shows that, and this says nothing again about experimental work. How does mere experimental work fit into this, where you're supposed to have like a really parsimonious model? How does that apply to biology or medical sciences?
Another shill for big academia, PZ Myers, says King Crocoduck is remarkably shallow.
Yes.
Not my words, the words of a science man. Anyway, thank you to Bilderberg for gifting 2 subs to the community. Fucking legendary stuff.
Nice.
Anyway, yes. Continuing.
In 2 parts. The first of these is the demand that models be made as parsimonious as possible. The number of posits made by the model ought to be as small as reasonably achievable. If 2 competing models have the same predictive capabilities, but one makes use of fewer theoretical posits than the other, then that model is more efficient by virtue of being able to use less theoretical machinery to achieve the same result, and is taken to be more
Pause.
desirable than the less
He's putting in his value of efficiency here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to point that out.
Yeah.
Which is what social constructionists critique of science. So science as we practice it, like criticism and critique is like, here's a thing you do, you know? It's not necessarily saying you're bad, but it's a thing you do. Pay attention to it.
Also, as fine as Occam's razor is, and I've got no problem with it, really, it's fine. Generally, when someone goes to it without being referenced to something else, they're usually a pretentious prick who doesn't really know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Usually. Not always. That's not a hard rule, but my experience, and it's plentiful with online skeptoids or whatever, is that they're usually full of shit if they go straight to Occam's razor.
Yes, yeah. Hey, if it's simpler, it's just better. Well, but is it though? I mean, why is that value? Why are you adopting that value? And again, it might make sense in your discipline, but does it make sense for science? And the answer is no.
efficient model. The second part of the efficiency criterion is the demand for consilience between models. This is predicated upon the demand that our total model of reality, the entirety of all the webs of inferential relations that constitute our base of knowledge, be synthesized as closely together as possible in order to generate a more robust, more comprehensively interlinked body of knowledge. This demand stands in opposition to popularly...
This is a goal in the natural sciences, not in the social sciences. This, like one theory idea, that there's one theory that underlines and binds them all, but they can't quite find it. And quantum physics really contradicts atomic physics. The idea that the psychological model should fit within the chemical model, and what is the other one on the other side? It's covered up right now. I can't see.
Oh, sorry.
The biological model. Again, there's no role for mind here. This is all materialism, which means he's taking a materialist ontology, right?
Yeah.
So he's just assuming his ontology and then saying he's not doing it.
Yeah. PZ says he's defining his idea of science using elementary scientific praxis. It says nothing about the correctness of science.
held beliefs concerning the supposed autonomy of certain fields and their alleged immunity to inter-theoretical reduction, as with the supposed irreducibility of sociology to biology. Arguments for why I don't think that societies, minds, and other sacred cows are irreducibly complex lie beyond the...
Sacred cows. He is 2015 made human. If he starts saying pwned, I might scream, I swear to God.
And also, I want to irreducibly complex. Irreducible complexity. I just want to make sure I get this right. Is the argument that certain biological systems cannot have evolved by successive small modifications to pre-existing functional systems through natural selection, because no less complex system would function. What does that have to do with the psychological model?
I don't know, but I think he's doing the basic bitch online atheist thing of comparing his opponent to a religious concept or something.
Yes, exactly. Irreducible complexity has become central to the creationist concept of intelligent design.
So you, as a social scientist, Kristi, are just like Kent Hovind. Is the basic... I think that's him essentially dog whistling to his audience about... Like, they're just like the creationist guys, because that's the only metric I can use to judge anyone by, because I'm literally fucking Thunderfoot's neck.
Still hasn't said why science isn't a social construct. But anyway,
no.
Other than he goes, because he can't. Social constructionism is philosophy, and I don't start with philosophy, so now it's not a social construct. Is that his argument? If anyone in the chat can summarize his argument, please have a go. I'm open to whatever interpretations you can get from this.
Yes, PZ again. Because it's nice to have
but please,
more science buds around.
Yeah, exactly.
My scientific ideal is that all of science should serve arachnology. I'm not sure I know what that is. Therefore,
that's his field. It's a study of spiders.
Oh, okay. Oh, so arachnids,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
okay.
wants to dominate all of philosophy
Yeah.
and science with his field.
Yeah, therefore, by my definition, anything that isn't spiders isn't science. Okay, sorry. I was thinking, is that a science? What does that mean? Okay, but it's literally the study of spiders. Okay. Yeah, spiders are creepy as shit. PZ, fight me. Anyway, but no, actually no, because he'll bring out spiders.
Yes, he would, and then you'd run away.
Well, no, I don't know about run away. They're just creepy. I'm not scared
Well,
of
if
them
he
as such.
came out and he had spiders on
Unless
him,
he's got
would
a
you touch
big,
him?
like... I tell you what I can't be dealing with. Big fuck-off spider. British spiders, pathetic. I can handle a British spider. Once you start having ones that kill camels, fuck that.
Scope of this video.
Okay.
For our present purposes, it is sufficient to note that consilient, strongly interconnected webs of knowledge are preferable to fractured, sparsely connected webs of knowledge, and that this property of consilience contributes to the efficiency
He says,
of one's total.
okay, when and where, in capitals.
Yes, also all of these values, efficiency, he's valuing efficiency. He's
Yeah.
valuing parsimony. He's sneaking in all of these values from his Western male perspective.
But that's the objectively bestest one.
Yeah,
Kristi.
yeah.
The
'Cause
white
I'm
man knows
neutral.
all, please.
I'm neutral.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't have a problem with things being efficient, but the question is it appropriate to the question you're asking? He's making, like, science, these principles, what determine our questions, not using science in the best way to answer our questions, you know? And
Yeah.
also the idea that, okay, yeah, let's go on.
Body of knowledge. In summary, then, explanatory efficiency is the demand for parsimony at the level of individual models and consilience at the level of the total model that emerges from the conjunction of all the other ones. The third criterion is optimal flexibility, which negotiates between two extreme, undesirable properties possessed by bad models. The first of these extremes is the model which is excessively rigid. This is a model which dogmatically maintains...
You're literally citing William Lane Craig. Oh, fucking kill me, man. Oh.
Yeah, I guess, I would disagree that so when I, for instance, the rigid application of rational choice theory to, which is like you maximize your utility. You look at your benefits and your costs and you do what's going to get you the most when you subtract the cost from the benefits, right? And there is some, value of saying, okay, we're just going to do a pure rational choice theory. What does this explain? And then do a sociological theory model test and say, what does this explain? Because then you can look at the variance explained. But so again, these sort of normative declarations of what science is meant to be is, he's making the point about the social construction of science.
Yeah. Also, William Lane Craig attended the University of Birmingham. Just
Oh, I didn't know
little bit
that.
of knowledge for you. Not the proudest claim from my home city at all, but there you go. It is a thing.
Okay.
Actually, so did Thunderfoot, interestingly. Just putting it out there.
That's funny. That's
Changes
just
posits
funny.
about
to
the
me.
world.
It is. Yeah. And it's actually a very good university. Russell Group and everything.
Even in the face of contradictory evidence. Such a model is unresponsive to evidence, and is therefore not serviceable towards those functions which scientific models are meant to serve. More on the function of models shortly. The other extreme is the model which is
just
exceedingly
pause.
flexible.
Pause. Can I just go to
Robin DiAngelo!
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What this has to do with like the social construction of science, I have no idea.
Come on, please
But
cite
it's-
Anita Sarkeesian. That would be amazing.
Yeah. But again, I just explained why you might want a really rigid model and to apply it in different situations and not try to like optimize and get the model that explains everything. Because in the social sciences, like in my field in political science, if I just took out all of the best variables and stuck them in, okay, I have all these explanatory variables, but what theory connects these things? So the aims of the investigation really determine what you want to do with it. And he has a cookie cutter view of how to do science.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to pass off his own biases as just...
Reasonableness,
Yeah.
rationality,
Yeah.
which is
He
the
is
white male
literally-
perspective that they criticize.
He's destroying you with reason and logic with a K. Yeah.
This is a model which incorporates every contradictory piece of evidence into its program by interpreting that evidence in an ad hoc fashion to give off the superficial appearance that the model's predictions have been fulfilled. Such a model is also unresponsive to evidence because there's no conceivable input of observation that will alter the model's theoretical output. The name popularly given
Pause.
to the property which characterizes...
Sorry, was he trying to say that definition was supposed to be a scientific test of the concept of white fragility? What was, I mean, obviously he's being deceptive here and propagandistic in his selection of images. But really, what did white fragility have to do with anything he was talking about there?
Nothing. He's just doing. Oh, again, these people are like the crazy liberals and the William Lane Craig. You need to hate them, audience. Just hate them.
Oh, you have to read this thing out from PZ because he's just nailed the entire 2 hours we've been going in one chat comment.
Okay. PZ says, it's frustrating how badly he's missing the point. He's using science to rationalise science, but the question is, how you justify science? To do that, you have to step outside your assumptions. True.
Bam. That's it. King. If anyone wants to clip something, just clip that and send it to King Crocoduck.
I mean, spiders are still creepy, Peasy, but you are correct otherwise.
As such models is non-falsifiability. A desirable model is one which negotiates between these two extremes and meets the demand for it to be responsive to evidence. It neither blindly ignores nor opportunistically recontextualizes contradictory evidence, and thus refrains from becoming dogma. Such a model responds to contradictory evidence either by recontextualizing its own contents to accommodate new evidence via the process popularly called paradigm shifting, or by being thrown out altogether via the process popularly called falsification. The fourth and final criterion is rational coherence, which is simply the demand that the contents of our models exhibit internal consistency. These big four operational criteria are methodological in their scope. When I speak of methodology as influencing the contents of epistemology and ontology, it is specifically the big four that I am referring to. I claim that the only sorts of things whose existence...
I mean, he really skipped over rational coherence.
Yeah.
What are the criteria for that? How do you judge that? Which coherence is, at what level is something coherent, and that you value it as a coherent? He throws that out unreflectively, as if it's self-evident.
Yeah.
But, also, why is that a criteria? He doesn't explain why, what would incoherence look like, or what would competing coherence look like. He just sort of takes this as, yeah, we all just want internal coherence with our models, and if there's a lot of different variant stuff, that there's a problem. Again, it's such a myopic view of how science can be applied.
Yes. Beasley comes back. Another good point. It's like using evolutionary theory to prove evolution.
Mm-hmm.
This was a dilemma that was addressed in cladistics. You have to use a methodology outside of your theory's conventions.
Yes, damn, do a video on this, Peely. Please.
Yeah, do. I'd love to see your response to this. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, just so people know, Lonely Wolf put out a video on the social construction of mathematics. I feel like we're sort of like creating a little... like a specialist group of people who know how to, like, the complexities of the philosophy of science, who have a more holistic approach rather than this very narrow one. But yeah, it's please do a video, PC.
Oh, that's too much work. Lazy
bastard.
Too busy poking spiders with a stick.
What we'll have to do is, this is what we'll do. This is what we'll do.
Well,
and this is going to be a multi-part series, right?
Oh, God, we're not responding to all of them. Jesus.
No, we bring PZ on for the next one.
Oh, okay, maybe, yeah. Okay.
That would make it more fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I brought the bingo card to make it
It would be good to have a white man on the show who knows what he's talking about, yeah. Because neither I or King Crocoduck meet that criteria.
But he can show up and with us and, chill,
Yeah.
have a coffee and
Sure.
correct the mistakes in this video.
Yeah. Anyway, fuck's sake, there's still over 10 minutes left.
we're allowed to posit, or our ontology, are those things which issue from models that are compliant with the big four, and that the only things that count as knowledge, aka our epistemology, issue at least in part from models that are, once again, big four compliant. The big four operational criteria are central to my philosophy because they define the limits of ontic and epistemic inquiry, and those limits, as you can see, are drawn by scientific methodology. The big four operational criteria displace the a priori theorizing of armchair ontologists and epistemologists because these criteria don't commit one to any metaphysical presuppositions. You can make use of the big four without ever having to engage in any a priori theorizing about the world that you're modeling.
Chris,
Pause.
what's it like being an armchair bish? Eh?
These are completely inadequate and inappropriate for the study of social reality, of social realities, or like what happens in the world between people. This is completely deficient. This would never work. If you try to submit a paper in the social sciences based on this, where you have one variable in your model and all this other stuff, you're never going to get published. That's not how it works.
Sorry, my chat being silly. They had a poll saying, what is science? One of them was arachnology. One was the glory of deity, but what actually one was eating Kev's entire ass. I've cultivated
your
a
chat.
special fan base.
Your kids look like you, Kev. What can you say?
Yeah, true.
Modeling. For example, it makes no difference to me whether the reality that I experience and model is perfectly representative of some noumenal existence or whether it's all just a delusion. Maybe I'm a brain in a vat. Maybe I'm plugged into the Matrix. Maybe I'm a figment of the imagination of a god, and the universe is just its dream. Maybe I'm God, in that I created the universe in my own mind as part of some delusion that I'm suffering from. Maybe in reality, I'm stuck in the padded cell of a psychiatric ward, and so I've subconsciously created this world as a coping mechanism to escape my isolation. And you know what?
Pause.
I don't care if any of these scenarios...
I do care.
Yeah.
I actually do care about what exists and how we can know it.
Why would you be in science if you didn't care? If you don't care what's true, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Surely that's the point of science, isn't it? To try and work out as closely as possible what is actually there.
Yes, what's real? What can we know? This is what, the Greek, why they held mathematics in a different sort of place is they didn't just do it practically. They realized that you could have a level of truth. I mean, it's tautological in some cases, but you can have that kind of knowledge that's very special. And like the whole point of science is trying to get at things that we can have confidence in.
Yeah.
So if you're a jar in a vat, what is the point of measuring all this stuff?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't exist.
True.
I mean, I don't think that. You don't think that. So that's why I care about this stuff.
Yeah, I'm just a vat.
You're just a brain in a vat.
Yeah.
scenarios are true. None of these and the many other hypothetical scenarios...
Oh,
No, that's
sorry.
okay.
Oh, you were doing a bit of Smashing Pumpkins for us.
Yeah, I was.
which have been the subject of endless armchair theorizing and science fiction prompts matter, because none of them have any distinct practical consequences in the world that I experience. I don't need to posit anything in an a priori fashion about the nature of reality in order to be able to function. All that I need is the ability to exercise decision-making.
But he does. He does.
In order
He
to
is so-
function. Well, you kind of do, because otherwise you could jump out of a window, because you haven't decided that you would definitely fall or anything. So yeah, you do. You need to make loads of assumptions based on previous experiences and things about the world around
Yes.
you. Yeah, of course you do.
But
In order
also,
to
like-
function, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the idea that what was the thing he said? It does. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was listening to you and I was reading the text, but yeah, it actually kind of really does matter. And all I need is the ability to exercise decision making. So you're just treating science like an equation. But that's not what science is. I mean, science requires the human mind and thinking and interpretation and questioning and investigation and speculating.
Yep.
That was it.
Power in the world that I perceive, regardless of whatever the capital T true nature of that world happens to be. Before I go on, it's crucial that you understand that when I speak of models which satisfy the Big Four operational criteria, I'm not just talking about the kinds of models that you'll find inside of a science textbook. I'm talking about the models that you are constantly generating every time the mental processes which compose your mind engage with sense data and organize them. Every second of every day, the photoreceptors in your eyes, olfactory receptors in your nose, gustatory receptors on your tongue, auditory and vestibular receptors in your ears, and somatosensory receptors throughout your body are bombarded with sense data that your brain subsequently organizes into a model of your external environment. The Big Four simply impose constraints on the types of models that can properly be counted as knowledge, and whose contents include all the things that can properly be said to exist. I observe that sense data...
Fucking what? Fucking what? Whoa, I'm so confused. Did you get... That was a blather of information. So sense organs should be filtered based on his criteria so we really know what is real? Is that what he was saying?
I think so. I'll be honest, I don't think he really knew what it was either.
Okay, I'm going to say I completely disagree with this idea that a model that your brain, your experience of the world in your mind is not a model in the same way a model is used in the scientific method. The whole point of the use of the term model, it's normally an equation of some type, but you can also, use symbolic representation for concepts like utility, benefit, and cost, and whatever else. But, my brain is trying to process this. The whole point of the scientific method is to make falsifiable, assertions that have a criteria that you can overcome by looking at the evidence after your analysis. And it's very particular. Models, how they're constructed, whether or not there's too much correlation between two of the variables, or you have irrelevant models or irrelevant variables or whatever else in it, that matters. So to equate a theoretically derived model that have been mapped onto things you measure in the world to what goes on in your head, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to work this out what he's saying because I didn't get, I stopped to do this live with you. I watched the first half, but that was just, talk about a wall of nonsense.
Yeah,
Just
babble.
complains about continental
Data is being presented
philosophers.
to my mental faculties. My mental processes take that data and use it to create models of the world. Is that world real, or is it made up? Are the models that I create representational of something external to myself, or are they just delusion? Again, I don't care. All that matters is that as far as I can tell, the world that I observe appears to exhibit regularities, and those regularities appear to come with consequences. Things that fall from great heights tend to experience lots of force upon making contact with the ground, and that's a consequence that might be worth taking notice of. Touching hot objects tends to cause painful burning sensations when handled without protection, and that's a consequence that might be worth taking notice of.
Quite literally a hot take.
Again, he's not only, his entire ontology of what exists is the material world. He's not looking at any other applications of the scientific method outside of looking at physical stuff.
Yep.
Bills that get unpaid result in very rude letters being sent to one's mailbox, followed soon after by a visit from some highly unpleasant people.
Model.
That's a consequence that might be worth taking notice of. In the end,
That's not
the
a
models that I develop
scientific
of the world that
model.
I perceive, and the regularities that the world appears to exhibit, seem to come with consequences that I should take stock of if I'd like to be able to exert some level of control over my environment, regardless of whether that environment is real or imaginary. The entire reason why I hold beliefs in the first place, why I generate models of the world, is so that I can at some point translate those models into actions. The big four operational criteria, then, don't issue from some a priori notion of what exists or what can be known, but rather stem from pragmatic considerations pertaining to my ability to navigate the world. The first
Everything's
criterion
about
is simply
him.
the demand that my models have discernible consequences. They must exhibit applicability. If they're not applicable to my ability to navigate the world, then they are literally of no use to me. The second criterion is the demand that my models are efficient, that the computational activities which characterize my mental processes don't get bogged down with unnecessary posits. My ability to process sense data is limited, and allocating valuable
Yeah, but
space...
again, that's something you're imposing on the situation. You
All
don't.
of this is value laden.
Yeah.
Just all value laden. Also, applicability. If it doesn't affect me, I don't care. Well, how does that affect your research agenda as a white man when it comes to issues of racism?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's a very fine point.
and processing power to useless features in my models is a waste of mental energy that might have been better applied towards something else. The third criterion is the demand that my models are accountable to my senses. If I'm trying to model the world in a manner that allows me to navigate it effectively, taking on dogmas can be deleterious to that task. This criterion allows me to identify and dismiss dogmas from my thought process, thus freeing my models of the world, to the best of my ability, from the hazards associated with pretending to know things that I do not in fact know. The fourth and final criterion is the demand that my models are internally consistent, as contradictions can paralyze my ability to make important decisions. These are the pragmatic justifications that I offer for making the Big Four operational criteria the core of my entire philosophical program, and, as we shall see, the fissile core of the Naturalist Nuke. With this methodological groundwork, I can now evaluate philosophical investigations in terms of their practical benefits, instead of just sitting in an armchair and dreaming up cute little word games. But of course, there will still be those who aren't sold on this program. There will still be those who, for whatever reason, want to speculate about abstract philosophical foundations prior to considering any practical consequences. And to those philosophers who insist on debating endlessly about the number of ancient...
So you're literally just doing medieval...
Yeah.
Debating how many angels are on the head of a pin. Dickhead!
that can dance on the head of a pin. I wish you all the happiness in the world, and may your armchairs never break. To everybody else, that is, everybody who's interested in organizing their beliefs in a manner that is geared, from the outset, towards the actualization of controllable outcomes in the world, keep watching, because at this point, the social constructionist is likely ripping her hair out and banging her head against the desk.
Yes. Yeah. We all are. We can all hear Kristi.
No, I mean, if I was banging my head against the desk, it was face planting, head desking how wrong he is. So yeah, that was I learned about that today.
Yeah. Are we done now, or should we watch to the end?
Do you want to finish?
Well, I don't know what he says. I haven't watched to the end.
Yeah, let's
I can almost hear Kristi and her fellow social constructionists, even now as I say these words. King Crocoduck, they must be shouting. This entire time, you have been using normative, value-laden language to characterize the core of your philosophical program.
Yeah.
And indeed I
Yeah.
have. I have been talking this entire time about desirable properties of superior models, about good science and bad inferences. I am invoking the language of value
self-awareness.
judgments in the
I'm
establishment
impressed.
of my pragmatic, naturalistic perspective. These normative value judgments, then, which belong to the philosophical field of axiology, are being situated prior to methodology. The methods that I have based my worldview on are themselves based on certain values. So even if I take methodology, which I've characterized in terms of the Big Four, to be the proper basis of ontic and epistemic inquiry, that basis is itself situated within a prescriptive, normative foundation. And value judgments, the social constructionist will triumphantly inform me, are subjective. Values are social constructs. Therefore, even under my pragmatic and naturalistic program, science is still, fundamentally, a social construct. And it would seem, at first glance, that I have lost the argument. How can I possibly deny that I'm making value judgments regarding what counts as good or bad science, good or bad philosophy? How can I possibly contest the claim that...
This isn't actually what I mean by social construct. I don't care about his opinion. I don't care about his opinion. What I care about is the consensus view of how we operate when we say the word scientific method and what that connotates, what that means to us. Yeah. Right? That is the social construct. So in order to do science, you have to share those terms, those values, the practices, the knowledge, and that is what is socially constructed. And that is doing science. Yeah. All of those socially constructed activities.
Well, PZ has questions. Desirable to who? Superior to what?
Yes.
Yep. I mean, yeah. Well,
so this is a rebuttal.
Taken as read.
My philosophy of science has a normative basis. And indeed, I cannot deny these things. I must confess that axiology does indeed inform my methodology. I do make value judgments about what makes a good model versus a bad model. And in acknowledging this, it would appear, at least initially, that I have conceded the argument, and that science is, in fact, a social construct.
Yes.
How couldn't it be? If the normative values that...
Yeah. But please tell us you're not doing dogma here or whatever.
You're teasing us now. Come on, King.
Yeah.
Oh, is this going to be the lead up to his next video? I don't know.
It's the cliffhanger. Oh, he's going to explain how him being a dogmatist isn't him being a dogmatist at all.
No, maybe he'll give us the answer. I'm still waiting. I mean, I've been waiting for weeks, so I'm interested. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Exactly. Stop edging us. Give us sweet release, goddammit.
I'm just going to say, I like that he conceded all of the critiques of the social constructionist about how white men bring their value system, which is the status quo hegemonic way of looking at it, and then just reproduce it.
Yeah.
He just did that.
Four operational criteria are socially constructed, as we understand normative values generally to be, then the big four operational criteria that are informed by those values are socially constructed, and by extension, so are the scientific models that the big four characterize. Unless I do something radical, like try to argue that these normative values are themselves non-social in origin, I'm toast, and surely I'm not crazy and naive enough to try to derive an ought from an is, am I? That would be like trying to argue that the rules of poker or traffic laws come from nature and not from human societies.
God, he does love the sound.
It would be insane to try to argue that the big four operational criteria can be found in nature, right? They're so evidently man-made, no different from the Ten Commandments or the Magna Carta. Surely I won't try to argue that the big four operational criteria came from nature, so there's no...
But those are criteria you've put on it.
Well,
you're now acting as if you've proved that this big four is definitely the thing, so we have to meet that criteria. No, those are your criteria. So you're going to use your criteria to prove that you aren't adding dogma or value to something. What?
If he would just get to the point.
I'm not sure there is a point. I
we're gonna
think for
find
him, he loves the sound of his own voice so much, just him talking is the point.
Yes.
No way I try to pull the same trick with axiology that I did with epistemology and ontology, and try to situate the value-oriented justifications for the big four within a naturalized methodology, right? Perhaps I'd better just concede that science is a social construct and move on with my life.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Yes. For the love of God. Oh, sorry, no, I've said God now. It's even ironically, Jesus, that's it.
And again,
lost.
In terms of the fact that he's drawing on socially constructed things, again, that doesn't make science not a social construct. I mean, he's kind of conflating I'm doing these things and they're socially agreed upon. But it's not like we're talking about the abstraction and he's trying to make it personal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that does make sense. Yes.
To try to argue that the normative values which underlie the big four operational criteria are themselves natural. Am I? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Enter the Naturalist Nuke.
What an absolute fucking dweeb. Honest to God, what a fucking loser.
So what he's going to do now is go to philosophy and read about naturalism?
Oh, I can't wait for part 2. I can't wait.
PZ, you have to come on for the next one, please.
Yeah, the Naturalist Nuke. We're about to get logic Hiroshima'd.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
So this is why it takes 2 hours to, like, unpack his crap.
Yeah, that was a
but
struggle.
I hope you were all entertained, because that's why we do this. It's educational, but it's also entertaining. We try to be.
It's edutainment.
Yeah.
Anyway. Do you want to do some bookmarks, or do you want to leave it, or what?
No. Do you? How are your bookmarks looking? Are they pretty shaggy, or are they nice and trim? Have you been doing the?
Oh no, this is au natural. This is ridiculous bookmark.
Oh, should we start with my bookmarks then?
No, you did bookmarks last time.
Yeah, because your bookmarks are like gone forever.
Yeah, but that's the point. I have to get through them at some point.
All right, fair enough. You're right. I did go first last time. However, can we, while you're scrolling back, I would like a break. And if you want to shill while I'm gone.
I can do that. Yes. Hang on. Where are we? Oh, God, there's so many things. Oh, no, we did that, didn't we? Yeah, okay. So we'll start with this, I think. Anyway. Yes. So something happened, didn't it? We had a thing. Yes, Lace Argyle with $1. Thank you very much. They say they get me to read out song lyrics. So here we go. A goddess on a mountaintop was burning like a silver flame, the summit of beauty and love, and Venus was her name. She's got it, yeah, baby, she's got it. Well, I'm your Venus, and that's where it ends. If only I knew the rest of the song, which I do, and I'm not singing it. Anyway. Yeah, you can go subscribe to me on YouTube. I'm Kevin Logan on YouTube. You can subscribe. Go and follow me on Twitch. It's linked below if you're on the YouTubes. Twitch.tv/KFLogan1875. You can follow me there for free. You can also subscribe to me there either with your money, or if you've got an Amazon Prime account, you can link that to your Twitch for free, and you get one free subscription every month, and you can use that to give me $5 of Jeff Bezos' money, which is quite nice. You can also gift subs to other people if that's what you want to do. Bits, you can send me bits, which is a type of way of sending money, which is a thing. You can get me to read silly song lyrics if you want via Streamlabs, which is linked below, and Patreon for a regular occurring monthly donation to help keep the show on the road. And Kristi's back.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you're full screen. I'm just going to sit back now and chill and watch your bookmarks.
This is a monkey and a cat. We like interspecial friendship. And here's a monkey and a cat that are best friends.
Aww, that is there's cuddles. Oh,
that is adorable.
That is lovely. Aww.
Someone built a tiny squirrel bench, which is fucking amazing. Brilliant. Love it.
That is brilliant. That is absolutely. I love that idea.
Obama, they're onto you.
Yeah.
Also, you'll notice those numbers don't add up to 19.
I didn't bother, but I'll.
Yeah, it adds up to 18. But they're close enough. You're onto something. Well done.
By the way, if anyone asks questions, I didn't see any questions come up for me during the Q&A thing, but I will. I am
Kristi,
looking at.
You explained yourself so perfectly that no clarification was needed.
All right. That's probably not the case.
Is the way I'm going to.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Anyway, someone built their cat a little room.
It was some little, what is that, like Critter TV or something?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe some sort of bird cam or something. Who knows? But that's adorable. Yeah. That's Fox News, again, censoring the Matt Gaetz talk, which I think you mentioned last time. This I quite like. So that's a grilled cheese that someone has, and then look at that cat's fucking face. Have you ever seen an animal want anything more?
Oh, we'll know now that King Crocoduck will have definitely left the show because he apparently is very anti-cat video for some reason.
Yeah, who's against cat videos? What kind of lunatic is like, fuck cat videos? Anyway, that's just a cute cat on a thing.
Oh, it is a cute cat.
Oh, no, that's it. That's why I bookmarked it. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, kitten on a chair. Anyway. Bodega cats being awesome.
Did not see that coming. That is
literally just wedged itself amongst the Oreos, as you do. Indian stealing.
What?
Yeah, Jordan Peterson being rather racist
Back
about
in 2016.
Indians stealing liquor. What? I didn't. Is that a racial stereotype? I've not even heard that one before. Jordan Peterson, a revolutionary when it comes to racism.
Yeah.
Bodega cats again. Just
love it.
silly bastards.
Because why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh yeah, Glenn Greenwald was all in on Biden's sexual accuser means he's definitely a rapist, right?
Yep.
Definitely a rapist. Due process though for Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
Matt Gaetz hasn't been convicted of anything, so it's fine. Also, literally agreeing here, right, with the it's not pedophilia, it's ephebophilia. He's literally doing the libertarian thing.
Oh, and also remember, we can triangulate this onto his comment about which states have consent laws, and then the Onion headline, man knows concerning amount about age of consent laws by state.
Indeed. Yeah, so Andy No smearing the recently murdered Dante Wright, because apparently
he's a piece
in
of
America, having guns and money is bad if you're a black person. If you're a white person, it's fine. In fact, it's actually lauded.
You're right. It's your right. Yeah. Needs to be defended.
Indubitably. Oh yeah, that's the actual story again. Whenever the police actually release the body cam footage, it always shows they're lying bastards.
Yeah, that's why we need to mandate them.
Yep, absolutely. Oh yeah, MPs spent the entirety of last Monday 7.5 hours of parliamentary time, which they could have been using for something constructive, sucking off Prince Philip's corpse.
Not literally.
Not literally. They spent the entire day going, he was wonderful, wasn't he? Oh, superb.
Oh, okay. PZ says, if you want me to join in sometime, email me, and gives the thing. Classes are kind of intense right now, but maybe, okay, we can schedule around you. That's fine. I mean, it's King Crocoduck. It's not time sensitive.
Oh, PCs. Oh, I'm educating people. Really? Priorities. What's this?
Oh, that's from 2019.
Billionaires doing something or other.
Katie Porter being awesome back in 2019.
Yeah, she's pretty badass. Oh yeah, people being weird. Stop dead naming Israel. What?
Huh?
And then referring to Israel as Palestine is equally as offensive as misgendering trans people. So on both sides, don't do that. Don't do that.
If you're talking about Palestine, and you're talking about Palestine, you're talking about... I'm sorry, that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Ian Miles Chung, bootlicking piece of shit that he is, again smearing Dante Wright, the recently murdered person in Minneapolis. Oh,
he's not interacting with the U.S. police, is he?
No. What? What do you mean interacting with? Oh, yeah, because he doesn't live in the U.S. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he's a person of color.
He is, but he lives like 5,000 miles away or whatever.
Yeah. So he doesn't know the things that are being experienced. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, Mike Lindell, which, by the way, I went to check on his site because it was supposed to launch on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
And, hang on a second, it takes forever to load because it's a shithouse website, but also it's broken. It doesn't work. It just comes up with a video of him talking to...
Vimeos or your,
whoever,
all these platforms.
Ben Carson.
Doesn't anybody...
So that's supposed to be his version of Twitter, right? He created a version of Twitter called Frank Speech, which, as we're about to see, it's not exactly fantastic when it comes to free speech, even though that's the unique selling point, apparently. And that's literally the only thing you get on his website, is a video of him talking to Ben Carson. Good. As you do. God, anyway, so yeah, free speech. He built this free speech platform. Should we listen to him how free speech he is?
Yeah.
Now people ask me, Eric, they said, you're gonna let everything go, porn and swearing and everything? I said, absolutely not. And here's why. We have a thing we found in the Constitution and our founding fathers that defines what free speech is. And Eric, get this, this Judeo-Christian platform we're gonna have here, they go by biblical principles. They get to the Supreme Court. You have the 10 Commandments there, and you'll see our definement there. So in other words, you can't. You're not going to have porn up there. You're not going to have these sites that or sites that contains material.
Now, I've definitely read the Ten Commandments, and I don't remember thou shalt not whack
No.
it to porn.
Courts are taking down the Ten Commandments because it violates the separation clause.
Yeah. Also, there's literally no
so-
thing saying you can't swear either. That's not a thing.
No. Swearing is free speech.
Yeah.
So no, I mean exotic dancing is free speech in under the Constitution's interpretation by the Supreme Court. So this is just nonsense. And what he's saying is he's going to have a totalitarian place.
Yeah. So basically,
social
it's not,
media platform.
not remotely free speech.
No.
Yeah. This for Dante writes murder again, just to show you how interlinked all of this is. Dante writes aunt says that George Floyd's girlfriend was Dante's former teacher at school.
That's like the worst version
And the
of
craziest
60 Degrees
thing
of Kevin
is to
Bacon.
find out today that my family has connections to this man, to this family. His girlfriend was a teacher for my nephew.
My Lord.
Yes, that's true. My nephew was a lovable young man.
Yeah. I mean, just atrocious.
Yeah.
Change.
It's murder.
Yeah, change of again, emotional roller coaster people. I want to be this cat.
So it's sleeping so soundly.
Does not
and
give
this
a solitary fuck.
I see an interesting question in the chat from Lace. I got a question. Is there such a thing as a science devoid of bias? Also, is science is sexy a science?
Well, clearly, and I've perfected that science. Next.
In terms of science without bias, I guess it depends on what your definition of bias is, because the whole thing is science is value laden.
Yeah.
The purpose of it is to give us knowledge we can hold up as special. That's the purpose. This is scientific information. I can't compete with a cat. So if you mean biases in a purely negative way, we would have to talk about what that means. Cat cam.
What are you doing, right, kids?
We don't need to do the show anymore. Just put Roy Cats on.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I've got fucking fur in my mouth now. 1 second.
I wish you would kind of give me a heads up with this. So I see Haruka is verifying you can say chicken shit according to the Constitution. Under oath. You can say chicken shit under oath? I'm sure you can say a lot of things under oath.
Surely you can say literally anything under oath.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I don't know. I'll call it like this. Someone made calico cookies.
That is amazing. I love that idea.
With the
that is really good.
The cookie dough.
That is super, super good. I love that.
That's pretty badass. Yeah, Steakums went after Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now, the good things about science is it's true, whether or not you believe in it. And Steakum says, "Log off, bro."
Yeah, can I just... Okay, all right, we'll go back to the first one since we're having this conversation. But yeah, let's get through them.
Yeah, you must have changed social media personally. Nope, science itself isn't
Yes.
true. It's a constant refining process used to uncover truths based in material reality, the process, blah, 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 blah. The point is, it's Steakums. What?
No, I mean, this is the perfect tweet for this show. Yeah. Oh my gosh, someone tag in King Crocoduck. Oh, he's not on Twitter.
What's the beef here? Pardon the pun. Just sick of Neil's games. So someone who does the Twitter for Steakums is not playing Neil deGrasse Tyson's shit no mo.
But honestly, that description of science as a process, it was right.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. Yeah. And it's self-correcting. Now you want to say how do you believe in a process being true or not? A process is a process. It works or it doesn't. Again, this is why I am sus when, natural scientists try to move into philosophy when they obviously have not looked at it. Yeah. Mistakes. Yeah, they spelled mistakes.
Yeah, John Cardio's a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. So apparently, again, gun ownership is lauded in America, unless you're a black man.
Only, yeah. Only
you're a black man. That's bad. That's bad.
No, if you're Ted Nugent and you show off your guns, you're really macho.
Yeah. The fact that this child in this picture is now fatherless, irrelevant. Apparently. Yeah. There you go. So Metropolitan Police calling on government and force leaders to take down social media firms that enable footage of officers engaging in incidents. So basically, the Metropolitan Police Force, right, is trying to hide footage of their officers abusing people.
That's what authoritarian dictator states do.
Yeah.
Not open societies where the police can be evaluated on their behavior.
Yeah. So, I think I've talked about this before. Poland has the 2 largest Jesus statues in the world, right? This one is owned by a church somewhere. It's in a fucking field. Anyway,
imagine how many people could have been helped with the money that it took to build that piece.
Well, you say that, but it's actually profitable for them because they're raking in bank by using Jesus' head as a mobile phone mast. They've got lots of mobile phone and Wi-Fi antenna behind the crown, and they're making serious bank off it.
You have turned my father's house into a den of thieves.
Yeah, exactly. If Jesus was alive, he'd tear down his own statue.
Yes, he would.
Because you're using it for financial benefit, you dopey. Have you read the Bible, you pricks?
Yeah, at all. At all.
I mean, on a personal level, because I don't think Jesus is even... I don't give a fuck, really. It's actually a good use of it. That's fine, yeah. But
tax churches, tax religious organizations.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's... there's none so disrespectful as the religious.
Yes.
None so blasphemous as the actual religious.
Yeah.
Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Have you seen her? She's debate broed Alexander Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh no, Vosh is going to be so upset that title is taken away from him.
Yeah. She's gone full debate bro. Debate me about it, son.
Yeah, I watched your coverage of that. He's like, when people talk about debate bro, I mean, yeah, there are debate bros, but really they mean me.
Yeah.
Fucking what?
Anyway, so yeah, it's never going to happen, but it would be fun. Oh, this is the guy.
This deserves a shout out. Neo Ripshaft in the chat and YouTube. I wonder what service put that up. The Virgin Mary Mobile.
Heyo. Nice. Yeah, I can't think of any more. I've got no puns on that one, but I'll leave you. Anyway, yeah, you were wondering what the meme was about in the last show we did. And it's this guy. This is from...
Okay.
Yeah, and this went sort of viral.
Yeah. Well, I've been here all 4 nights. I'm just standing here today with soup for my family. And we're just, watching all of this unfold. It's very unfortunate.
You're not planning on using that.
It's the
that
wink.
Was the guy.
It's the wink. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Warm weather means horny gators are descending upon Florida.
Why do people live in Florida?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
How is 2021, man?
Yeah. This is nice. So a video shows NYPD new robotic dog in action. And I like it. Mm-hmm. The account We Rate Dogs, which is always gives 10 out of 10 for all dogs. Wow, yes. The first 0 out of 10.
Oh.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked. You had this, didn't you? The Boston Police union leader who was
rape culture,
sexually assaulted children, and it was all covered up. Because police are the good guys protecting against crime.
Yeah, rape culture is everywhere.
Indeed, it is. What's this? Identity revealed, pleading guilty. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I found it interesting at the time. I bookmarked it. Don't know what that means.
Yeah, but I want to stop on this one.
Yeah, James Lindsay. When you were all out there getting slaying pussy, taking drugs and enjoying yourself, he was studying the blade. In the most unimpressive fashion you've ever seen. What is he doing? Look, chop some wood. That's interesting.
You can mute that. You can mute it, but let it run, because I just want that in the background as I say this. I read how did I find? I don't know how I found it, but I was doing my critique of James Lindsay on my Sunday show, and either someone referenced or gave me, or I found an article in a online publication. I'll call it that. It's not a journal. I don't want to ascribe that to it because I looked at it and it doesn't really look like it's peer-reviewed in any meaningful way, but it's supposed to be about philosophy. Peter Boghossian and James Lindsay wrote an article together about science or something. I can't remember the topic now. It was like basically like why philosophy should be more like science. Something like that.
Oh, brilliant.
And I read it and it's so bad, Kevin. It's so bad.
It's James Lindsay and Peter Boghossian.
I'm going to openly do a peer review on it. I am going to show the peer review process. Now, I understand it's not for a journal article, so I will lower some of my standards on references and elaboration of theory and various things like that. But they talk about philosophy and science, and it's like, it's a mess. It's a mess, and I just wanted to expose how bad it is. So, I wanted to mention that while this was up, because people can look forward to that coming up on my channel, maybe on my Sunday show. It will be probably multiple parts, because I'll read it out and I'll critique it, and then I'll like write up what my peer review would be. Yeah,
you can see whether his axe work is as bad as his brain work.
Yeah. And yes.
Yeah. Also, this again, Florida, fucking hell. The Florida House just passed an anti-trans bill regarding athletics in schools. The bill includes genital checks of children and will likely be signed into law. It's disgusting and wrong, and we need to vote out anyone who supported this just so wrong.
Yeah, and the real, what's so disgusting about this is people introduce bills all the time that are vicious and evil and mean, but this passed the House.
Yeah.
Enough people voted for this to get it passed, and that's such an indictment of the Republicans.
And you would think, especially in Florida, given one of their Congress members is literally under investigation for child sex trafficking, that they might think to themselves, I wonder if such a disgusting thing could be abused in any way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, this won't survive a court challenge.
No.
They're wasting taxpayer money with this
but
to virtue signal.
What? For fuck's sake. What mental process does one have to go through to think to themselves, you know what will protect children? Having adults check their genitals.
Yeah.
Outside of medical blah, blah, blah. You get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
sick. These people are wrong in the head.
Yeah.
Oh, the British
They're the
government.
Small government people, right?
Yeah, exactly. That want the adults to look at your children's genitals.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, tiny government. Matt Hancock. This is the British government being even more nakedly corrupt. Matt Hancock, who is the Health Secretary.
Yeah.
And therefore responsible for giving out contracts with public money to companies to provide healthcare, right? Healthcare type business. They gave out a contract for, hang on, I'll get the exact details. It was millions of pounds anyway. It was
I've said this before, but I wish, or I don't know if there is in your system where like a citizens group could sue the government or ask for freedom of information stuff, and look if there's been nepotism or not. What's the word I'm looking for? Like corruption basically. Yeah. That meets the definition of basically bring a private prosecution.
Yeah. Essentially. Oh, sorry. No, it was £150,000. Okay. But the point is, right, it's not just nepotism, because Emily Gilruth is one of the directors of the company who got those 2 contracts in NHS Wales given out by her brother. But the man himself owns a 15% share in the company.
What?
Matt Hancock, the health secretary, owns a 15% share in a company that got 150 grand of public money.
There needs to be an investigation and arrests and a trial.
Yeah. These people need to be in jail, yeah.
Yeah.
This is so nakedly corrupt. And he's still health secretary. This has been the story been out for a week now. No one, the British government don't care.
No,
and
you have an elected dictatorship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what you have. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's democracy going wrong. This is Maxine Waters doing democracy right, as far as I'm concerned.
To answer the question, what does it have to be?
Expire, sir. If you need to respect the chair and shut your mouth.
Don't worry about this. We're going to handle.
Just shut your mouth.
Sorry, I was like inhaling there, and it was you just shut your mouth.
Yeah, she's not fucking around.
Well, when you act like a child, you get treated like one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go and stand in the corner, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, go and sit on the naughty step.
You're on a timeout. You're on a timeout.
Yeah, you sit on the naughty step and think about what you've done.
Yes.
You've let me down, you've let yourself down, and you've let democracy down.
You let the nation down. You left those kids down.
Yeah, you should be in jail for your acquiescence and cover-up of pedophilia. Oh, not pedophilia, but rape of students.
Sexual abuse, yeah.
This one's a nice meme. It's a little bit of a thinker at first, but you get there.
Yeah, it's cute. Yeah, no, it's good. That's good. That's good.
Oh yeah, James O'Keefe. Can I get some lols that James O'Keefe was suspended from Twitter? That's still funny. That's Matt Hancock again, being a piece of shit. Oh yeah, as if the police couldn't get any more mental. American police, they enjoy shooting children, it would appear. So it's something of an occupational treat for them. But it gets weirder, because from Law Enforcement Targets, Inc., they put out this thing, and it involves they literally put pictures of their own families on the targets to train the police officers that even in a situation where there might be an emotional response, you should shoot at it.
The goal of NMH is to break that stereotype on the range regardless of how slim the chances are of encountering a real-life scenario that involves a child, pregnant woman, etc. If that initial hesitation time can be cut down due to range experience, the officer and community are better served. Shooting a pregnant woman means the community has been better served.
Frailty of condition. Yeah. One officer explained that he enlarged photos of his own kids to use as targets.
The whole premise, I mean, that is in particular vile and disgusting, but it's an example of the sickness that this is meant to designed to train you out of your instinct to not kill vulnerable people.
Yeah.
That's what it's trying to do.
His own kids. Now, I think that this should be used as a reason to take those children away for their own safety, because this person's, I think, a danger. But the whole system is
psychologically damaging to public servants, which is what the police are meant to be. Not meant to be, which is what they ought to be. Public servants.
Indeed. Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin, pieces of shit, taken PAC money and was speaking at an anti-union group.
Oh, that is shit.
They're trash people.
Yeah, Joe Manchin and his bipartisanship. Like, go talk to fucking Mitch McConnell, not Biden. The problem of bipartisanship in your body isn't from the Democrats. So yeah, he's rubbish, but he's a Dem vote. So
indeed. What's this? Oh yeah, there was football racism. Anyway, this team from I think it was Slovakia refused to take the knee in support of anti-racism and stuff.
Fucking pricks.
And then they got thrashed 4-0, and all of the goals were scored by black guys. Nice.
Good.
Yep. Fascists love posting about women and their insecurities. So this is Feminine Europa. Gives you a fair idea. So it's white women. Then this is slightly weird. I think you should read this one out as your WOMs.
All right. Guys, I have a serious question. Do you consider brunettes less European than people with fair hair? I have seen quite a lot of tweets about how beautiful and noble Aryan women are, which is true. But this energy is nowhere to be found when it comes to brunettes. This concerns me because I'm the opposite of Aryan. My brunette with brown eyes. Maybe it's just me, but I've always felt like there's a slight discrimination against us for not looking European enough.
Racists.
Yeah.
They are a funny breed. That's ridiculous. Because again, the purity of it all, or the purity spiralling of it all. I'm brunette, and therefore I don't look European enough. Shut up! The fuck are you talking about?
Why are you even thinking these questions?
Yeah, if that's an issue for you, maybe this is not the right movement for you. Maybe chill the fuck out. It's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. What's this? The America is just going to pretend like the COVID's over. Apparently, so U.S. jobs sink. Blah blah blah. A post-COVID low, as layoffs ease with economic. And someone pointed out 1,000 people that day died of COVID.
Yeah, and these two things are, I mean, I don't see these things as linked. I mean, there are people who really do need work because they were laid off or made redundant, because of the pandemic. And so, I mean, I don't necessarily
No,
think
it's
they're
not a
doing
matter
it
of-
at the expense of the COVID
No,
spread because...
No, it's the use of the phrase post-COVID, as if COVID's over. And 1,000 people
I
had
see.
died of COVID, so it's not over.
Okay.
America's just going to pretend.
I guess maybe I just filled in the blanks there because I said like a post-COVID, like since the pandemic started. But if they mean after COVID, then that's wrong.
Yeah, nonsense. Capybara, because I didn't realise they made these noises.
Oh. What? No, they chirp.
Yeah, like guinea
They
pigs.
don't bark.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. I mean, I was
This
thinking it's fun with
pigeon
birds.
is a dickhead. This pigeon is a proper twat.
I mean, someone was really pissed when they
Yeah.
got back, but that is so funny.
And then he's off. You can't catch me.
Honestly, that's how we find, like, footprints in the fossilized footprints in the sand of dinosaurs, right? They're doing the same thing on beaches.
Well, but not in concrete. Not in freshly laid, smooth concrete. Oh, Lozza. Oh, God, the London Mayor thing has been so fun. Because it's been fun because it's a foregone conclusion, so I don't care. Just throw crazy bastards into the ring, it won't make any difference. Lawrence Fox. Okay. Some of this is fine. Most of it isn't, though, right? So it's like more homes, safer streets, improved education. Pablum. Right?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I will end lockdown and reopen London, so, I'm going to cough in old people's faces.
Yeah.
All of that short shit. And then I like the fact that this is one of his priorities, right? I will stand up for our city's history. Scrap plans to tear down London statues and replace street names.
Wow, that's a really pressing issue of people during a pandemic.
Yeah, people are really caring about
vulnerable.
the statues. Freedom of speech, thought, and inquiry. What does that mean? How are you going to do anything about that? You're London Mayor, not fucking Prime Minister. What do you think you're going to be able to do about that? Well, actually, he's not going to be even the London Mayor, obviously, but that's the position he's trying to, apply for to the people.
It's ridiculous. These are ridiculous things, honestly. Yeah. And I'm gonna be like just frank when you say things like I'm gonna cheaper buses, tubes, plus fewer cycling lanes.
Yeah.
What? Fewer cycling lanes?
Yeah, because it's cars are brilliant, and we all need to die of fucking lead inhalation or whatever. Oh well,
okay,
it's all unleaded now, but you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, I mean the tube is a monstrosity.
Have you ever
How
breathed
are you gonna
London
make it
air?
cheaper?
It's like trying to breathe porridge.
No, it's not that bad. But this is all pablum, as you said.
Anyway, but okay, the air quality is not great. It's not super duper for people's health. So what we need is fewer cycle lanes and people to be literally attached by hose pipe to people's exhausts.
I mean, I don't see, what is he going to do? Roll back the congestion charge? I mean, the congestion charge has been great for London.
Yeah, it's been a genuinely transformational policy. Ken Livingstone did that. Just saying.
And why would you have fewer bike lanes? And just
because he's appealing to the gammon vote, and gammons are really annoyed that you can sit in traffic and for a whole 5 minutes, there's that cycle lane there and no one's cycling on it.
Okay, but just in terms of who actually drives around London, a lot of people don't because of the congestion charge, right? Yeah. So he's talking about people in the congestion charge having a little extra room on the roads.
Yeah, and the traffic as well. Look, sometimes, literally at peak hours in London, and the same is true in Birmingham, it's quicker to walk.
Oh, yeah.
Because public transportation's shit, the cycle lanes are insufficient mostly, and you can't drive anywhere because you will be stuck for hours, so you might as well just walk.
That was, also released one for the congestion charge.
Yeah.
To try to alleviate that, yeah.
It did, and it's a massive financial boon for the local government, which keeps council tax down.
Yep.
So. Lisa with $1.40 says, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can teach you, but I would have to charge. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right. And that's where it ends. If only I knew the rest of that song. Crazy.
I really, your interpretation gave me chills. It was so sexy.
It was. Well, I put my heart and soul into that.
I believed you.
Yeah. Exactly. You were there. You were part of the story, weren't you? Entranced. Anyway, Liberty University are suing Jerry Falwell for $10 million, which is
good.
Fun.
That's hilarious. That is very hilarious.
Yeah. I think you're a Radiohead fan. I think you might like this one.
I? What?
The shoe looks like it's got the same look on its face.
Yeah, I was right up on one side. I was looking at the lace side, but yeah, on the other side, it does actually look exactly like that. Yeah. Funny.
Oh, Joe, he was so close to a good point. So close.
What you saw on television. These white supremacists, Nazi sympathizers, carrying Nazi flags, using the...
Oh, Joe.
Yeah. We know he's not the most articulate, but damn his policies.
Yeah.
He's doing all right. I don't fucking care. This isn't like Trump making it, he's...
No, I know. It's fun. Look, it's worth pointing out because it's not every speech. Whereas with Trump, it was like if you did that for every one, you'd never do anything else. Anyway, this is just funny. I played this the other day, but it's the sheep is okay, so we can laugh. But,
okay.
Yeah. So they're pulling the sheep out. Good Samaritan, you know?
Yeah, well, okay. Why would they go lower? Where there's more room.
It's okay. No, but
okay.
Is the sheep's free.
Oh,
it's
okay.
fine. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Dickhead. Absolute dickhead. It was extricated again. Don't worry, it's fine.
No, please let it run.
Yeah. Absolute fucking knob. Straight back in there. There's something in that ditch it wants.
Clearly.
One more time. Fuck it.
It's just how it lands.
Yeah.
It's like a piece of toast going in a toaster. Yeah. How does it? It doesn't like it. Is it aiming?
I like the jump. It doesn't sort of slouch itself in there. It jumps. It bombs into the ditch.
It commits.
Yeah. Fucking genius. Oh yeah, I'd like to report a murder. Who do you want to be, Miles Chung or the doctor?
I'll be the doctor.
Okay. So Miles Chung says, why is Joe Biden wearing 2 masks? Wearing 2 masks inhibits your oxygen intake and isn't recommended. It makes it harder to breathe. They'd designed thicker masks if it was even necessary. It is sad to see some medical experts destroying their reputation to defend Biden for forgetting he already had a mask on.
From Rana Kabir, MD. Hi, emergency doctor here. I have worn 2 masks for 8+ hours a day at my job for the last 6 months, and I can guarantee that there's still more oxygen getting to my brain than there is yours.
That is an execution right there.
Yes, that is very good.
Nicely done. Look how happy that little dog is. That is fucking legendary.
That is adorable. Yes, that's just it exudes.
And it's the one little paw as well. Look at it. Oh, he's loving life. This is my favourite cat clip of all time. I played this the other day as well. Absolute dickhead.
He needed a little more lift, I think. He misjudged that.
I love it. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Oh, wait, it doesn't go through. It's not a window.
Yeah. It just thought a massive bird had appeared in the living room. So, Nostradamus was able to predict over 500 years ago that Joe Biden would win the 2020 election by fraud. And this video clearly lays out. What? What are you talking about? The fuck
there a
are you
link?
talking about?
No link, huh?
No, just ridiculous. Just
Oh, they must have had it in their copy paste.
yeah.
Just stuck it in there.
Yeah. Oh God! Again, do you want to be Matt Gates or do you want to be?
No, I don't want to do this one. I don't want to. All right, I'll be Matt Gates.
Go on,
oh
then.
God! It is past time to withdraw our troops from Afghanistan.
Haven't our nation's 18-year-olds learnt not to trust you when you say you're in favour of withdrawing?
Ooh, I see the humor. It's just yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh God. So this was one screenshot on one day where all the top stories on CNN. There were 6 mass shooting stories.
Yep. Yeah. America is back, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Grim. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. During the trial of Derek Chauvin, which I suppose we'll end up covering next week when there's a verdict and all the rest of it, they're setting us up for an innocent, which is bad. Anyway, Derek Chauvin, more than 3 people every single day have died at the hand of law enforcement, around half of which have been people of colour.
Despite the fact that they're a much smaller portion of the population than 50%.
Yeah, much smaller, yeah.
Mm-hmm. 35, 33.
Something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, police, murderers, terrorists, as far as I'm concerned.
Dismantle the racist police system and rebuild it from scratch.
Yeah.
We have to get to the white supremacy. The white supremacy is the core of the problem, and we can't just restructure. We have to set new values.
Yeah. And a better, happier note to end on.
Is that the last one for you? Oh,
yes.
I'm melting.
Yeah, that is
I am
adorable.
literally melting here. Gosh, normally they go on for like a longer.
Yeah.
I'll just say. So I'm going to need you to faff for me while I pull up my bookmarks. I was nowhere near prepared.
Come on. Get in.
Yeah, get the Rory cats out. That'll do it.
Come on.
Oh gosh, I've got some James Lindsay stuff too. It's not just him dancing with an axe with something sharp. What's that squeaking noise? Come on, Kev, you left me to entertain the crowds, and I'm also trying to do my bookmarks.
Sorry, I was dealing with cat-related.
I know. I was also trying to multitask and still be somewhat. People wouldn't click off, but I think I failed. All right. Oh, okay. I've gotten to the point where we were last time. So, or pretty close. Let me move the screen. Now, is it easier for me to resize? Yes, it is. I'll tell you what. I'll just share my screen.
You need to share first.
We'll start there, and then I'll resize, just so people have something to look at. That's not my name. All right. Is that about right? Oh, you just went full screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're just gonna go full screen. All right. Oh, we did that one already. Louis Gomer is a piece of crap. Oh, I went way too far back. Oh, this was Vosh. It's just Kristi, but you've already talked about it. Oathkeeper guy we talked about, I think, pled guilty to the January 6th. They're starting to fall now. Yes.
Yeah.
The chips are starting to fall. Also, and again, I have my critiques of AOC, but who the fuck is Ryan Knight to go on, what is this, Iranian state TV?
Press TV, Iranian propaganda, yeah.
To say she's not leading the left, she's stabbing the left in the back. I mean,
Also,
he has a right to his opinion, but
he
who
knows.
the fuck are you?
He styles himself as a communist now, even though during last year he was supporting Warren for president.
And it's just like, hey, how about, here's the thing we disagree on, but on all the other things, I'm still with her. I mean, it's possible to respectfully disagree. Like, I don't blanket. But anyway, yeah, just Brian Knight, another person that I dismissed as ridiculous. Oh, right, yeah. The America First caucus, did we talk about that at all?
I don't think we did, but they're doing open Nazi shit now.
Yeah, they want to promote Anglo-Saxon political traditions.
Also,
What the fuck did the Anglo-Saxons bring to our political traditions? What does that even mean? I know it means white, right? Especially to Benjamin Franklin.
But what I especially love about this is the historical nonsense of it, because The vast majority of white people in America are not Anglo-Saxon.
No.
They're Irish and Italian and Russian and Ukrainian and all sorts.
The
Very
Anglo-Saxons
few of
don't
them are
exist
Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah. And weren't the Anglo-Saxon political traditions like monarchy?
Yeah, absolute monarchy.
You might want to rethink. I think you mean Enlightenment thinkers, but maybe that's too secular for them. Oh, yeah, this. So I had tweeted this out.
Yeah, you asked me to do something with this, and I forgot.
Yeah, well, it was a couple days ago. We haven't really. It was before the weekend or over the weekend. So yeah, they replied to my thing about the Anglo-Saxons, and we discussed it. We put it on the show, the song from Asian Dubs Foundation.
Yeah.
Should I just play a little bit of it?
Yeah, go for it.
Because it's awesome.
Here they are coming over here. We've seen it all before, haven't we? We've seen 10 years ago with the Poles, people going, oh, bloody Poles coming over here, bloody Poles coming over here being all Polish and mending everything. Coming over here, being broken and too illiterate to read the instructions for, doing it better than us in a second language, bloody Poles.
So coming over here, yeah. And I said to Kevin, because what they want to do is, we've got till May 1st, and they want people to take a sample of their song and do their own version of Coming Over Here. And I said to Kevin, we should do one. Well, I didn't say this part, but I will now. He should dress up like Benjamin Franklin.
How am I going to do that?
You just get one of the bald wigs. Just get a Franklin wig.
Yeah, but
right?
Well, okay, a bald wig, that could be anyone. That could be literally anyone, couldn't it?
Well, not if you get the Franklin, thing going on.
Yeah, but I also need like one of those grey.
I haven't figured that part. Just don't object yet. Just like don't
I'll just get a name badge
me.
that says my name is Benjamin Franklin.
We don't want negativity here. We want open spaces for open ideas. We want freedom here. We don't want to say no, right? We'll just.
I'm not saying no. I'm saying yes and.
Are you though?
I'm saying yes and fuck off.
And then going through that letter where Benjamin Franklin, it's supposed to be Coming Over Here, so maybe it wouldn't apply because it's about Benjamin Franklin. But that same attitude was also, so that was my idea. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. But I got...
Well, it says Coming Over Here, but he doesn't say where here is.
Correct. That's
so
why
I think it works for America, like coming over here, these swarthy Swedes.
Germans.
Yeah.
Coming over here.
Except the Saxons, that's fine. Saxony's super duper.
Bringing their Protestantism.
Catholicism.
No, the Germans, I was saying. The swarthy Germans.
No, but he was Protestant, wasn't he? So wasn't his thing that they were bringing Catholicism?
Well, it depends. I guess, there are some German Catholics, but I don't know what the migration patterns were like. We'd have to research that before we did the video.
Benjamin Franklin's thing was saying they're not just, dirtying up the genetic waters, but they're bringing weird religious practices, which, considering he was a Protestant, would mean Catholicism, surely.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yep, fair enough.
There might have been a few Jews in there. Probably a few Jews.
Jewish people.
Sorry, Jewish people. Yeah. You know what I mean. I'm not trying to be rude about it.
Lace just sent me a link to a Benjamin Franklin costume for you.
Oh, for fuck's sake. This is going to happen, isn't it? Kristi's going to bully me, and I'm going to end up wearing a fucking Benjamin Franklin costume thinking, what has my life become?
If you want, we can do this as a happy hour thing. People can contribute lines, for instance, maybe in the Facebook group or something.
Go to my Discord. I've got a Discord. It's linked below.
Oh, you would... Oh, okay. We'll do it in Kevin's Discord. And come up with lines. We'll do it as a group project. Everyone who contributes will be credited, underneath. I can do that. And
I'm just
Kevin performs it. I'll edit it. Oh. So, let's make this a group project. Sounds like fun.
Cool.
And then we have to do the free paid Kevin. We have to get people to tweet at YouTube, by the way. This is what you do. You tweet at YouTube saying, I want to give money in your platform and you won't let me. Why won't you monetize Kevin Logan? Channel,
or at least get back to him and tell him to fuck off. Just get back to him.
Yes, make it shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, September.
But if you tweet at them, I want to use the super chats. I don't, why aren't you letting me spend money on your platform? They might notice that.
Yeah,
because they're greedy like that.
Exactly. Tell him he'll do JQ stuff if it helps.
No, don't tell them that. Obviously, that's a joke.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously.
He will do extreme racism and transphobia and sexism if it helps, because that seems to be a thing you're happy to monetize. So,
Yep.
you know.
Yep. All right. I'm going to have to join your Discord now.
You are?
Because, I'm better at bars than you are. But it's not really bars, though, is it?
Don't even step to me.
Although we could make him into some bars. We could, elevate. I mean, not to say Stuart Lee. He wasn't making a song,
No, he was doing his comedy routine to a beat.
Add some triplets in there. Yes. All right. So, Tim Wise, I'm a big fan of, as you know. Again, just fucking owning everything. Republicans like to tell us they're the party of Lincoln. But Lincoln said, quote, capital is only the fruit of labor and could never have existed if labor had not first existed. Labor is superior to capital and deserves much the higher consideration, unquote. So yeah, no.
Marxist? Because that's literally the labor theory of value. That's a perfect, a reduced, simplified version of the labor theory of value. That capital can only exist because people do shit. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So this is what I'm about to scroll up to or down to. I don't know what direction you want to call it. It's a photographer taking a picture of a wedding party, but as he's falling over.
Okay. Look at the bride's face. Oh, bless. What the fuck was he doing? Was he on stilts?
I like the composition, though. I mean, even as they're falling, I don't know if it's a he or she or they or what, but look at the composition. Like the guy's head in the corner, that's pretty well placed.
Nice.
And then
it's still nicely framed. Yeah. No, this is quality. This is quality extreme photography.
Yeah. But that's just like a thing that makes Twitter a good place. Yeah. That kind of stuff. Right. Yeah. 1915 was the same year the second Klan was born, thanks to a large popularity of Birth of a Nation released earlier in the year, but also spurred on by the lynching of Jewish Leo Frank, a man that summer. And this is just weird. Weird story that the Ku Klux Klan has come back again. First it has, not is, but whatever. 15 men said to have sworn allegiance once to a fiery cross. A weird story has come to Atlanta from Stone Mountain about the revival of the mystical rites of the Ku Klux Klan. A night or two ago, a mysterious yellow flame was seen to burn brightly on the top of Stone Mountain, and in the early dawn, a number of mysterious figures were seen to come down the mountain side and disappear into the woods. Investigation disclosed it is said that 15 men had sworn allegiance to the Klan by bowing down before the fiery cross, which was so dreaded by carpetbaggers and evildoers in the Reconstruction days.
Oh.
Was it really carpetbaggers and evildoers?
Ooh. That's a grim telling of the tale.
Mm-hmm. And that was 1915. Yeah, that was America.
Oof. Bad. Very, very bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The phrase America First, again, this caucus was popularized in 1915. Oh, it's the same person talking about it and just linking it to things.
Yeah, Woodrow Wilson, I think probably, I think personally the worst president in American history.
Yeah. We watched this video, right? Of James together? Of him saying that he's an expert.
Did I? Did we?
Okay, I'll play it and you can see if you remember it.
My name is James Lindsay. I am an expert in critical race theory. I want to kind of start my testimony. I'll try to stay brief by saying that I receive thousands of messages from people all over the country because I am recognized as a kind of world-level expert in critical race theory.
Didn't he describe it once as race communism?
World level, not international. World level.
Yeah, he's hoping to get a promotion to intergalactic level.
Yes. I played it at the start of my show last time.
Okay.
That's where I saw it before. Okay, yeah, there's more.
My name is Dr. Lindsay, if you don't mind.
And you're a math professor, correct? Not a sociology professor?
I am a PhD in mathematics who's been studying the relevant academic literature full-time, 16 hours a day, most days of the week for the past 3 years.
Oh, shut the fuck up. You've been whinging on Twitter. wanking into a sock.
Yes. Yeah, writing incoherent articles.
Also, why is the black guy on sideways?
Which
on the right there.
Vertical?
Yeah,
the vertical?
he's sideways.
Yeah,
he's defying gravity, goddammit.
He's amazing. He's a Superman.
He is.
All right. Next one is a cute one. A forever image. Famous topics in art history. Hercules attempting to give his cat a pill.
Oh. Yeah, that is what it's like.
That's just such a funny reading.
Also, hang on. The one on the bottom left looks like he's giving a good scene to.
This one, like noogies?
No.
You mean where
bottom
the
left?
line is?
Bottom left.
Oh, right. Yeah. Who's what in that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit more homoerotic than I was. Well, actually, I don't know. Homoerotic, it could be a lady dog, wolf, cat, whatever the fuck it was.
Yep. Hey.
Oh no, it's got a mane. No, that's a man lion.
Okay. We want to talk about the inherent racism in the justice system. A Colorado judge, Natalie Chase, will resign after investigation reveals she's used the N-word. Said all lives matter in relation to George Floyd protests and objected to athletes kneeling. She said she, quote, did not mean any animus by using the N-word, unquote, in the presence of black staff.
Didn't mean any animus by it, because that word is perfectly fine in all situations.
Yeah, it's good that she's gone, and I would question a lot of her judicial decisions. Looking back,
I think there's fair grounds for
appeal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if legally that counts, because I don't know the Colorado or state or federal law, but I would morally I think there's a right for people to appeal now on that basis, because those convictions can't realistically be seen to be sound.
Yeah, here's Rev Warnock again, just trying to put a positive light on it.
Oh, Raph, what's he up to?
Yep. If you think your voice in our democracy doesn't matter, just look at how hard politicians are working to silence you. More than 350 different bills have been introduced nationwide that restrict voting rights.
Yep.
Your voice is powerful. Never forget that.
Indeed.
Yeah, he's just like a negative topic, and he can be very uplifting. So, good. All right, more America first. Oh, this is again, racism in America. Delaware passed the Crown Act makes hair discrimination illegal. Yeah, because you can be required to have, if you're black and you have kinky hair or curly hair or what, I don't know the exact terms, forgive me, I'm white. They can require you to be and discriminate against you.
You're white.
Imagine that.
I didn't.
Yep.
I can only apologise to my viewers. If I'd known she was white, I'd never invited her on.
Yeah, so they had all of these things like, oh, you can't have braids, you can't wear your hair this way, ways that are for black women how they wear their hair.
Yeah.
They have to be straightened, it has to be this way, that way, in order to be more Caucasian. It's also way more expensive.
Yeah.
To get your hair to meet those criteria. So white women just walk in and have it naturally, and white people who don't have that hair.
And that's clearly legal here in Britain as well, because I told you about that school, didn't I, where they banned afros.
Yes, exactly. You're banning people's hair.
Ridiculous. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Unless the afro is 10 feet tall and can't fit in the fucking room, what issue do you have?
Yes. By the way, okay, so are we done with this? Sorry, I want to finish, make sure we're done before.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So yeah, more racism in America. Hey, Lonely Wolf, just so you know, you got a shout out earlier, your social construction of math video, because PZ was in here helping us break down Crocoduck's crap.
You have to send me a link to that, because I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Right. What is this? Oh, yes. So we saw that there was going to be some... Biden wasn't going to lift some of the caps on the Trump limits on refugees. And he got a bunch of blowback. And he's like, okay, I fucked up. Yep. I will lift them.
I mean,
there you go.
I'm glad he has changed the mind, but I do have to wonder about some of the political nous involved in that, in the initial decision.
I mean, I haven't read the details. I would be... part of the thing I would want to know is it partly because of Corona? In terms of
possibly, but
safety and things.
He's got to bear in mind that he was elected to be not Trump anymore.
Well, yeah, but that's a pretty wide category. And I think the thing I wanted to point out is that he listens and he did the right thing. So, and it was like a couple days in between the decisions. It wasn't like 5 years later. So the policy, will be changed now. OAN rapidly cuts away from Lin Wood after he starts making QAnon claims on the air. You want to hear that? It's only 41 seconds. You want to hear it?
Are a bitch, eh?
Yeah.
Watch out for this next move. He's going to rebirth you into the spirit world and create exactly the person that he intended you to be. There's your cue. Cue.
Oh, it's the QAnon cues in the air. This is a cult.
Yeah.
All right, we've been listening to Lin Wood speaking at the Health and Freedom.
There you go. Lynn still running around. Okay, that was James again. Oh, yeah, Louisiana Republican reveals he's also under FBI investigation. Oh, this time, let's find out. There's so many of them now. His being is probed apparently over grants made by his office. Hey, take a page out of that book. Blasted the committee. Yes. Anyway, he's being investigated by the FBI. Y'all need a FBI that does that shit. Okay. Pro-Trump website confirmed detailed plans to storm the Capitol and kill members of Congress. So that's still coming out. Oh yeah. Mike Pompeo's in deep shit. There was an inspector general investigation that has, as the headline says, concluded that Pompeo made more than 100 requests that appeared to be personal in nature and violated the regulations.
Well, I am shocked. Shocked, I say.
That's why, yeah, he's not running for president in 2024 because of that. He already said he wasn't. Now we know why.
Yeah. A lot of people need to go to jail, man. There's some fucked up shit with that Trump administration.
Yes. I don't know what the volume or the sound on this is, but this cat is just cute.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Oh, yeah.
That is cute.
Yeah. This confused me too. So the Jacobin comes out with Medicare for all isn't winnable yet, but expansion is. And Bernie Sanders' proposal to lower the eligibility age would bring us closer to Medicare for all. But that's what a lot of people have been saying. That's what non-Bernie people have been saying. Hey, let's expand Medicare.
Okay, well, I mean, again, if Biden is allowed the scope of changing his mind, I suggest we offer that to Bernard and anyone else as well.
Oh, no, it's the Jacobin. It was just that when we were saying this before the election, it was why do you hate poor people? Incrementalism doesn't work. But now it does. Okay, just be consistent. Yes, basically it's saying that the Civil War is over and the racist lost, but some House Republicans are still fighting the battle, and that's what the America First caucus is.
Well, yeah, but I will...
Hakeem Jeffries.
I will just time out on that one. In terms of the battlefield... Yeah, the racist lost. But because Reconstruction was never completed, the battle was won, but the war was, I think, quite conclusively lost.
Yeah, if the goal was to keep the Union together, but if it was to rid us of the evils of slavery, and that didn't happen. Slavery just continued in a different form. In a legal form.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just...
Oh.
Come here, you. You're not going anywhere. Yes, the GOP buys book in bulks and then redirect the money back into people's bank accounts. How is that not some sort of... So it's a political action committee, right? They raise money from individuals. They use that money to buy books that they give out as gifts, and then the royalties go to the member of Congress.
That seems like some money laundering bullshit.
Yeah. Yep, now a complaint about Ted Cruz's own campaign buying his books has triggered questions about... Yes, this is from the Washington Post.
Yeah, that seems like some fraudulent bullshit.
Yep. Oh, we're talking about kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
A 7-year-old is traumatized after the white school staff member cuts her hair.
Oh, what the fuck are you doing? Oh.
Just check this. Yep, April 16, 2021. School district in central Michigan is in hot water after 2 white staff members secretly butchered the hair of a biracial first grader. Jimmy Hoffmeyer was shocked to see his 7-year-old daughter walk through the doors on March 26. His daughter's curly hair was chopped within inches of her scalp, the work of women who clearly didn't have the first idea of how to care for the hair of a black child.
There is a real sickness at the heart of American society.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Who does that?
Yeah, and you're not going to see that on, Steven Crowder or the Lotus Eaters or any of those, people who talk about freedom and protecting kids.
There's always something more visceral about it when it's a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's a child. Who would take that innocence and do this fucking ridiculous barbarity to it? And it's hair, so it's not the end of the world, but it's still fuckery, and it still can be enormously psychologically traumatizing.
Yeah, it's assault.
Yeah. You're stealing a part of someone's body.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's just vile and disgusting. Oh, this was it. Oh, yeah. Can we just, I'm just going to read the second paragraph. What? No. Come on. It was working before. Oh, Hugh. Okay. So this is like King Crocoduck Part 2. Boghossian and Lindsay argue that philosophers must be scientifically informed.
Okay.
So their audience is presumably philosophers or people who are interested in philosophy. Again, this isn't a great journal, but this is their second paragraph, right? Truth is not always intuitive or comfortable. As a quirk of our base 10 number system, for example, the number 0.999 repeating, the one that is an infinite concatenation of nines, new word to me, happens to equal 1. That is, 0.999 is 1, and the expressions, 0.999 dot repeating and 1 are simply 2 ways to express the same thing. The proofs of this fact are numerous, easy, and accessible to people without a background in mathematics. The easiest being to add 1/3 0.333 repeating to 2/3 0.666 repeating and see what you get. This result isn't intuitive, and as anyone who has taught it can attest, not everyone is comfortable with it at first blush.
What am I to take from that, Sarah?
This is what the fuck, I think, is like, why would you throw in all of these numbers and then these calculations when you're trying to make an argument about, it's incoherent.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, I don't know what I'm even supposed to take from it.
It's so poorly written. It is so poorly written. So this is why I'm going to go through and just explain to them how to write coherently. This is why you need the humanities guys, because they know how to put together sentences and make an argument. Fuck me.
True.
Right. I just want the cat videos now.
Okay.
I had a whole bunch of. We had there was a shooting in Wisconsin as well, near Kenosha or outside Kenosha.
Yep. There were shootings everywhere. There were shootings in America this month.
Yeah. So I told y'all how James Lindsay wanted to high road me on science.
Right.
Because I criticized Brian Keating's PragerU anti-science video. Well, then he also tweeted this.
The blood clots thing is probably bullshit. They probably wanted to force people to use mRNA for some reason without it looking like they're forcing them to.
So science is bad?
But the blood clots thing is probably bullshit. What are you basing that on, lad? What's that claim being made on? Just intuition. It's fine.
Yeah. Yes.
I know there are doctors who have actually, studied these individuals and diagnosed them with the blood clots and all that, but I know different.
Yeah. But philosophy should be informed by science because I'm the science man. Quartering is racist. Just
no, I don't believe it.
Yep. This is just from Ali Velshi, again on television being broadcast, MSNBC, so it's a bit niche, but still I think it's important to say, that he's hoping that people will wake up to the realities of what's happening in our policing system. We need a force in our lives to protect us, but we need it to protect all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about, so Joyanne Reid, who's also on MSNBC, shitting on Kirsten Sinema.
Yeah.
So here, she posted a pic of herself on Instagram rocking a fuck off ring. This says fuck off on it.
Yeah, she's not my favorite person in the world.
Yeah, and Joy Reid just totally drags her. What's the message here, Senator Sinema, and who is it directed towards? Because the complaints you're hearing are from people who presumed that you were at least progressive enough to support voting rights, infrastructure, etc. Do you support those things, or just the filibuster?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are some people who aren't really Democrats. Let's not get into it. But she's basically a Republican in some senses.
Yes. And yes. I mean, I definitely agree. Also, she's one of the votes that gets us to 50. So, until we get a little bit more cushion.
Well, unless she decides otherwise. And then does a little jig and walks down there and thumbs down people getting $15.
I can't remember the last time somebody switched parties. It's been a really long time.
No, I'm not suggesting she switched parties. I'm suggesting she stepped down because she sold people a false prospectus.
Oh, that's never going to happen. Politicians don't step down unless they're made to. But moving on, we could have a whole conversation about, dinos, you're going to say.
I would say dickheads, but yeah.
This woman is saying, I don't wear a mask because we're not called to live in fear while wearing a gun.
Yeah. Yeah, ridiculous. But that's okay because she's white, she's allowed to have a gun. So that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, she's fine. She's absolutely fine. Yeah. Oh, this is great. I ended up subscribing or following, I should say, this account. It's dudes posting their W's. This is
Quaver's
really
taking
good.
the piss.
Yeah. Can you hear him? No.
To buy any more because it's already tried to pump out 3. So I'm thinking if I get a cookie, though, that should be heavy enough to drop right on top of that. Hopefully it doesn't slide off. Hopefully it knocks them off. I think we're going to go for it. We're going to give her a shot. Let's see. Real time, boys. 2:01. I just frickin' paid you. There we go. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Hell yeah. 2 cookies and 3 bags of chips. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice. That is a win.
That just made me laugh. So I'm sharing it with y'all. Okay, back to the bookmarks.
I just usually just run full force, shoulder first into the thing until it drops.
Okay, you might want to try the cookie trick if that works out with the physics next time. This next tweet, the text reminded me a bit of you, Kevin, if you want to read it out.
I asked my students today what keeps them motivated. One of them said spite. True. That is one of the few things that can motivate me to do anything.
Yeah. There's an account that likes to take the piss out of James Lindsay, and I'm here for it, and this was one of the
replies. Bit of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Lovely.
Yeah. I'm one of the few people who've written more books than they've read.
Nice.
All right. Let's see what else. More America's fucking borderline police state. Law enforcement records in cities across the country were checked by Tom Perkins here, and he found that as many as 95% of the charges against the last year's Floyd protesters were dropped, raising questions about police motivation for mass arrests.
Yeah, they're just trying to silence people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And not just that, but have you seen what they're doing in Minnesota? It's basically been, occupied.
Yeah, the journalists are complaining. One of them was patted down and had part of her genitals grabbed or something. I was asked if she could speak English because if she's Asian American, she was asked if she could speak English.
Fuck's sake.
Yep. All right, so sorry, another negative story here, but I also just want to
Didn't you say you were only doing cat videos?
I was trying to get to them, but yeah, this was the last mass shootings in the last 2 weeks in America.
Hell. That's Birmingham, Alabama, just in case anyone was wondering.
Yes. And it's just when is enough? When is enough? seems like never.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, just blaming everything. Oh, okay. Here's a good video. Here's a positive one. Might be my last one as well, or pretty close. All right, I'm gonna full screen this, and sound is on. I don't think we need it, but here we go.
I can do this.
Can you though?
No. How are they not just tired? What? Is this on a loop?
Someone's counting.
Alright, we get the fucking point. I want to know the number now.
82 and under a minute.
Fuck me. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, so that was my positive one to end on. There's also this one, which is a federal judge orders a Proud Boy leader Ethan Nordine and Joseph Biggs detained pending
Lol.
trial, reversing an earlier ruling.
Dickheads. Good stuff.
So there you go. There's two bright spots on which to end the show.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me for this unscheduled one, Kristi.
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing it to my attention that King Crocoduck was talking shit behind my back. I mean, that's okay. Like, I don't mind, but it was hilarious when I saw the thing where he's like, Kristi Winters, you didn't think that just because, no, of course I didn't, man. I don't pay attention to your channel. You just made a really ridiculous claim, and I proved you wrong. But the idea that he thinks I'm scared of him is it's just no end of funny to me.
It is ridiculous, yeah. I'm going to check who's around on Twitch. Yeah, the only reason I knew is because there was a spate of comments, about a dozen comments or something over the last 48 hours of King Crocoduck people saying, "Oh, King Crocoduck annihilated you," and I thought, is this going back to the thing? Because I remember us doing our original takedown of the science is not socially constructed, but that was 18 months ago or something. So I was like, that's weird. But because they happened so much, I was like, okay, he's done a video then. Because I don't watch his fucking channel. Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, when you strawman someone, it's really easy to pwn the strawman, but he didn't actually engage with my arguments, and he still hasn't shown science isn't a social construct.
Yeah.
So.
Absolute madness. Kezbox. We'll go to Kezbox. So I'll raid into it. What have you got coming up on your channel?
Oh, I guess, on Sunday, it's way far away now, but probably be doing that peer review of the Boghossian and Lindsay article. And playing some D&D, but not Tuesday night, just Saturday night and Sunday. So, cool. Not too much. I'm chilling out, working on some other stuff.
Well, enjoy all of that shit. I'll be back at some point doing something. I'll be back tomorrow, probably. Yes, thank you all for listening and watching. All of my links are below. Go and do the things. Go and subscribe to Kristi. And go say hello to Kezbox over on Twitch. I'll raid you in there now. And it's goodbye from me. And goodbye from Kristi. Say goodbye, Kristi.
Goodbye.